Hey everyone, guess what? We do not have ugly swag. We have spaced out radio gear that you're going to want to wear. Why? Because no one wants to wear ugly clothing. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com and go shopping today. You'll be glad you did. And it's a great way to support our show. Once you get your gear, send us a picture of you rocking out in your S.O.R. swag. spacedoutradio.com, shop there today, and make yourself look good.
I can't do much to keep it all together. I'm not a good pretender and never could live a lie. I said too much and let it get the best of me until it took the rest of me. I thought it was worth the fight, to fight for what's right, to right all the wrongs, to sit in our songs, to know we belong. No one understands, they don't have the desire, got their hands in the fire, and they do it again. We give it all we can, all we have is desire, got their hands in the fire, we burn ourselves and never say, never say, never say, never again. I never say, never say, never say, never again. I learned more from one enemy than from 1,000 friends. That heaven takes care of the fools and scoundrels in the end. You learn more from one lie than from 1,000 truths. It's all-
Greetings, space travelers. Welcome home. You've just tuned your dial to Spaced Out Radio, the only place where you can own the night. I am your host, Mr. Rob G. And as always, we're going to be digging into the topics that keep you talking and the talk that keeps you thinking. So come on in, kick your feet up, get comfortable, get an ice cold beverage, get ready to join the conversation. You know, you can check us out at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And we're going to go ahead and get into it tonight. We're going to have a great time. So glad that we could be here. Kind of got some of the social dig mixed up in there, but it's okay because it's all one thing, right? It's all one movement. So happy to be back here with you guys and getting in the mix. We've had an awesome, week and a half here where, you know, we got to get out, Spaced Out Radio crew and viewers were able to get together in Reno. We had a fantastic time. I totally, I met a lot of great people there. You know, Courtney Marcus Sonny, Dave Scott, Jim Goodall, Melinda Leslie. The list goes on. We had a great time. You know, we really, I think we were probably the biggest thing in town for those few days. They definitely knew we were there. And it's just been awesome, right? So, I mean, it's been about a week and a half. Let me make sure everything is okay. My audio is great. Check out the chat. Looks like we're looking good. We're looking good. So let me go ahead and get into the gold winner of the night, which is Race Fan. Then we got Puck Elf coming in with the silver. And we have Christine coming in with that bronze. She's getting that bronze tonight. Definitely. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and see who else has joined us because I'm hoping everybody comes in tonight. It's going to be an awesome show. This is the first time we're going to try what we're doing tonight. And I think it'll be a thing going forward. So we'll kind of see how this all works out. Getting into it, though, let's see. We got said Puck Elf. We got Magneticus Attractus. Thank you for coming on in. Appreciate you. Says, bet this message is gone by the time the stream starts. Yeah, it does that. I don't know why it does that. YouTube refreshes, I guess, every so often. So you end up running into that issue. But Race Fan keeps us straight. So we always know who the first three are in here. Thanks for coming in, Magneticus. Abbott Hoffman it usually is. Thanks for coming on in, Abbott Hoffman. We really do appreciate you showing up tonight and joining us. Let's see. What else do we have here? We got Roger Murray coming on in, dropping knowledge as always. Rest in peace, Dr. Bruce Maccabee, passed away age 83, best UFO researcher, Gulf Breeze, Florida, 1987 UFO wave, and worked with David Paulides, missing 411. Okay, that is great to know. And rest in peace to Dr. Bruce Maccabee. Race fan, we do appreciate you keeping us educated and on top of the mix here. So your input is always appreciated. Thank you for coming on in. Who else do we have here tonight? Let's see. Getting down the list, we have Kathy Evans. Kathy Evans came in and said, hi, Kathy Evans. Thank you for showing up tonight. We do appreciate you coming to After Hours tonight as we come back, right, from Reno, shaking off the cobwebs, getting back in the mix. Who else do we have here? We have Jessica S. saying early birds, definitely early birds. Thank you for coming on in and supporting the show tonight, Jessica S. Awesome as always. Let's continue. We got Leafy Nebula saying, hey, folks. Hey, Leafy Nebula, thank you for coming on in. We appreciate you showing up tonight. And we have Miss Mama Catherine Jones saying hello, everyone. As she says, hi, Mr. Rob G. And I have some stuff. I was able to meet Mama Catherine out in Reno, and she is just totally awesome. And so is Charlie. We had a great time, and we might have had a sighting, guys. I'm going to say very great chance that what we had was definitely something anomalous, and we'll be getting into that a little bit later on today. Tonight, actually. Let's go ahead and see who else is in here. We got Paul DeMond saying, this that Wu Train. Paul DeMond, I think you're in the right place. I do appreciate you showing up and getting in here with this, man, so we can go ahead and get this going, right? After Hours is back in effect, and we have Paranormal Pixie Laura saying, good evening, weekend space travelers. That's right. Good evening. Right back to you, Paranormal Pixie Laura. We do appreciate you coming on in, supporting the show like you always do, and swinging that wrench of yours, right? Because you definitely keep the chat in check, and we do appreciate that, Pixie. So thanks for coming, Black Dragon, Semper Fi, S.O.R, Semper Fi, right back to you, Black Dragon. We're going to have an awesome show tonight. I really promise you it's going to be great. Let's see, who else do we have? Ginger Turtle 43 saying happy Saturday, sending out positivity to you all. Always a great thing to do. Always recommended. Definitely send out positive energy whenever you can, because that's what you end up receiving back, right? At the end of the day, or at least that's how you hope that's how it works. And generally been proven that that's the case. But thank you for coming on in and sending that positive energy out. Ginger Turtle 43. Who else do we have? Christine Lynn saying hi, everyone. Hi, Christine Lynn. Thank you for coming on in tonight to the After Hours show. Who else do we got on the list? We have Lars Jansen. Definitely stepped in the building saying good morning, all. Good morning, Lars Jansen. Thanks for coming on in. We appreciate you. Next up is Aloha Dave 13. Saludos a todo de Mexico. Greetings to everyone from Mexico. Aloha Dave. We appreciate you always keeping us bilingual, right? Appreciate that. Some would say it's the first language of the United States. I might be one to agree on that. Let's see. Next up is CS saying greetings to all. Greetings to CS. Thank you so much for coming on in with us, hanging out at the After Hours. We're going to get it going on tonight. Moving down the list here, we have Paramarv. Paramarv has stepped in the building saying, how do, folks? I hope everyone's having a great night. I'm on the road, so I won't be chatting much, but I am listening in. All right, Paramarv, we appreciate you listening in and tuning in to Spaced Out Radio After Hours tonight. I know you always do. And we'll miss you in the chat tonight, but drive safely there, Paramarv. Who else do we have on the list? Moving on down, we do have Susan Alloway. Susan Alloway has stepped in saying, hello, everyone. Hello, Susan Alloway. Thank you so much for showing up tonight. Let's see. And we're just moving down the list. We're getting close to the end here. And who else do we have? Let's see. All right. I'm glad to know that for once, audio, everything's on point. And that's yes. So great. Thanks, Pixie, for letting me know. Letting me know that we're good here. Let's see. Toe Tag stepped in saying whoop whoop to the S.O.R fan. Whoop whoop right back to you, Toe Tag. Thanks for coming on in tonight. We appreciate you showing up and supporting the show on this Saturday night, right? Could be anywhere else, but you are here with us tonight. We appreciate you. Moving down the list, we have Lil Camp 51 right over from Twitch tuning in. We do appreciate you, Lil Camp 51. Let's see. Moving down the list, we have Dead Fish Cheese Spread saying, hey, yo, Dead Fish Cheese Spread. Appreciate you coming on in. And let's see. Moving down the list, we have Carl Bittner. Hey there, Rob, and all you spacey after hour spaced out peeps. Appreciate you coming on in, Carl Bittner. That is Human Carl. For those who don't know, talk to Dave. Dave has a friend named Alien Carl. This, though, is Human Carl. Thanks for coming on in tonight. We have Catalina Cat saying good evening. Seems like a new name. If you are new, I would definitely want to welcome you to the show, Catalina, and kind of let you know how it works here. So we run this show 7 days a week. Believe it or not, Monday through Friday, you get Dave Scott 9 p.m. Pacific until midnight, Monday through Friday. Then when the weekend hits, you get the after hours, which is me on Saturday, and then myself and Jessica Jones on Sunday. So the way it works is we start here at 8 p.m. Pacific, run to 11 on Saturdays. Sundays, you catch Jessica Jones 7 to 8 p.m. Pacific. And then right after her show, you roll right on over here to the after hours. And we run it again, 8 p.m. Pacific till 11, and kick it right back off until the week again. Always something great for you to watch here at Space Out Radio. So welcome. Thank you for coming on in. And if you haven't, appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button, notification bell, so you know when we go live, because it's all the time. Thanks for coming in, Catalina Cat. And we got Deb from my hometown, Sacramento. Thank you for coming on in, Deb, as you always do, and bringing that great energy into the chat and that fun, that fun atmosphere that we have. You are very important to that, Deb, and appreciate you coming on in tonight. Moving down the list. Let's see, who else do we have? I've called out everyone else except for our guy right here, Brown Dwarf, saying good evening, S.O.R. And we'll put a note on that because Brown Dwarf will actually be the one joining us tonight on this S.O.R. Experiencer Night, something that we're considering doing once a month, maybe twice a month, figuring it out. But I want to include you guys. I want, there's experiencers and viewers in the audience. And, we're going to have like special days, maybe last Saturday of every month or twice a month. I don't know yet. And kind of highlighting our viewer experiences. So that should be pretty awesome. We'll find out tonight. Who else do we have here? Moving down the list. Moving down the good list. We have Christine. I'm not going to do as long as Dave, but we get it. Christine is in the building saying hi right back to you. Thanks for coming on in tonight. Deidre C has stepped in the building. We do appreciate you. Saying, hey, Mr. Rob G, S.O.R. peeps, great to be here with you. Thank you for being here with us. Really, thank you for being here with us tonight. We really appreciate you showing up here tonight. Moving down the list here, we have, let's see, I think that's about it. Yep, we are current. So definitely want to thank you guys for coming on into Spaced Out Radio. Should be another freaking awesome weekend, rolling into another awesome week. But as we do every Saturday, I know it's been a short week here at Spaced Out Radio. We've only been live since Wednesday, but we had 3 awesome shows. So we definitely are still going to hop into the S.O.R. time so we can go back and check out the week that was Spaced Out Radio as we hop into the S.O.R. Weekly Review. Here we go.
After Stephen Greenstreet interviewed Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, who just couldn't remember meeting with Brandon Fugel privately in a skiff, regarding the encounters and actions at Skinwalker Ranch in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, with Eric Bard and Jim Siegel and others, and others from Skinwalker Ranch, and Jim Lakatsky was there, and Senate Select Committee and staffers.
That's right. So what happened here, Bob, for our audience who may not be upfront with what's happened?
Kirkpatrick did not out and out lie that he was not there. He said, he was telling Greenstreet he had no interest whatsoever in UFOs for any reason before he joined Arrow. And he about half regretted doing it. And then Greenstreet, to his credit, said, well, Brandon Fugel's claiming that y'all met in 2018. And Kirkpatrick went, I don't believe that's right. I don't remember that at all. So Brandon Fugel released a photo of the entire group standing in front of this screen with a PowerPoint slide of Skinwalker Ranch up on the screen. And Kirkpatrick was turned around looking at the camera with eyes that were like daggers. He was so angry he was being photographed. It was fantastic. And so Brandon just brought the receipts, said what's happened, and even Greenwald went, whoa. It's not been a good week for Kirkpatrick. He is getting trounced from every angle, and every little half-truth misdirection he tries, he gets caught out because, it's scientists inside the intelligence community think ufology is full of freaks that wear tinfoil hats. They forget it's full of former intelligence community professionals, former military who've been witnesses while with the military, et cetera, and lawyers and every other kind of person has had experiences, because it's not just a thing the government sees. And they're smart enough to figure out his crap. And a bunch of us are coming out and now pointing out, we point out every time they try to use misdirection language. I've been doing it now for a year, saying, look, when he says there's no evidence of extraterrestrial life, I say, who said anything about extraterrestrial life? This is misdirection. And they hate that me and others like us are doing that. They just really hate it, and they can't get away with their crap anymore because we're on to them.
Well, I found it interesting that Brandon Fugel, who's, as public as he is about his life, he's still very secretive about what he knows about Skinwalker Ranch. Yes, there's a TV show, where at times the evidence on the show is underwhelming at best, at least in my opinion. And yet here he is basically slapping Kirkpatrick across the face with these photographs that he leaked, basically saying, hey, guy, like you said, Bob, to steal your line, I got the receipts here. What are you going to do about it? We're talking about experiencers in the first half hour, and you have a book that is celebrating a 10th anniversary. It's UFOs over Maine. And what makes this exciting? What makes this book intriguing?
This book in particular is the UFO book I've always wanted to write. When it originally came out in 2014, it actually took me like 6 years to write because, I was young, I'm an idiot, I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm trying to write a book and a manuscript, and, I'm trying to put things together. I finally kind of get my stuff together enough to be able to submit manuscripts to a few different places. Denial, denial, denial. Sometimes I never hear back. Anyways, the book finally comes out, and it's half, it's one third of what it really was. The editing decisions and things like that from the publisher, and they're lovely people, and they got to do what they got to do as well. New author, and I understand how all that stuff goes. But this book, what I decided to do for the 10-year anniversary 2 years ago, I decided to completely dismantle the first book. I read it back through. If you've ever looked or listened or watched any of your old work, especially 8-10 years old, you probably cringe. I did when I read that book back. And I knew I had to rewrite it. I had to find more information. I had to put more encounters into it. So it's completely rewritten. It's completely revamped. There were probably 20 encounters in the original one. This one has almost 200. And it's got everything from creatures, Men in Black encounters, UFO landings, the craziest of stories that I could find. And the witnesses, I re-interviewed a lot of witnesses, ones that would allow me to anyways. And it was an amazing, rigorous process. But to go from like 130 pages to 440 pages for this new 10th anniversary edition, it's just the ultimate book for UFOs in the state of Maine. And really, in talking about a lot of these stories, I do compare them to a lot of stories that are known nationally or internationally, so there's a lot of references made to other identifiable, recognizable things. But that's really the deconstruction and then the reconstruction of the book in a nutshell.
The fact that you concentrated on the state of Maine, is interesting to me, because Maine has seen a lot of UFO flybys and flyovers, most famously Shag Harbor in 1967, where even though that incident happened in Canadian waters, it flew over Maine before crashing into the harbor, and both Canadian and American Navy ships ended up in the area trying to search for this thing. I mean, why was it important to tell the story of UFO sightings over Maine?
It's my home state. I love it to death. And to generally speak about the people of Maine, so many of them are reserved. So many of them don't want to be looked at as crazy, or because we're so far north that we're bumpkins, and we're not connected to the rest of the world, and we are. Technology is in Maine. And a lot of the military bases in Maine, especially in the 60s and 70s, had nuclear storage areas. And there was a lot of concentration in those places during those years, with a lot of UFO sightings, especially by military personnel. And Maine, for me, it's still a place of mystery. It's the home state of Stephen King.
The first time I heard a Sasquatch roar, it was literally about 200 feet behind four of us. My friends had this at the time. They had this 10-acre property, and the entire time we felt like we were being followed.
Yeah.
And that's where I saw the pixelization of the Sasquatch by my friend's cherry tree, right by his house. And the two of us, of the four of us, could see the pixelation. The other two, today, would be called, glimmering, like the glimmer.
Right.
And we walked to the front of the house on their 10-acre property, and way behind us, about 200 feet, that's where we got roared at. And my friend lived on the mountain, man, and everything echoed there. Okay, if you heard horses, cattle, goats, sheep, okay, everything echoed. But when that roar hit, it did not echo either, man. Did not echo.
That's so weird. Yeah, I'd never thought of that even before, but that's so bizarre. There must be something to that, because that's pretty weird that something so loud wouldn't make an actual sound wave. Is that why it wouldn't echo? That's super strange.
No idea. I have
Yeah.
no idea about that, but I'll tell you, we had a roar this year or last year, pardon me, when we were out in the forest, 7 of us, and we had about a 15-20 second one pitch roar. It
Oh,
was like a siren where it just started and then it hit that note
yeah.
and then it stayed there and stayed there. And we're like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah.
And then it
Yeah.
kind of died down like a siren does. And it was like,
Oh, right.
wow.
It's really like, how do you, so when I hear the roaring and one of the other really, really weird sounds we've heard out there, is it walking through this dry creek bed, and it's pulverizing the stones it steps on. Like, you can hear it just crushing them into sand as it walks. The lady who was with me when we heard that, she was like, "Nope, done. We're out. Like, can we please leave? I'm not here for this." That's like, okay, you wanted them to come out, and they came out. She's like, "Yeah, cool. We're out. Let's go." So
I do want to ask you something though, because for people who are listening to this show, they're like, "Oh, you're like all the other, woo masters out there, where every time you go into the forest, you're having encounters, and everything's a Sasquatch. A beetle
yeah,
crawling on a rock is a Sasquatch. A lizard going by is a Sasquatch.
yeah.
It's not like that. You literally have to learn the animals in your wilderness. I
So
know
you're right.
in my area." We have wild horses. We have a wolf pack. There's mountain lions, lynx, bobcats, martens. There's moose that are running around at 1,500 pounds. You don't want to
Yeah,
battle one of them. We have
yeah,
black bears. We have grizzly bears, coyotes, badgers, like a lot of things that hate humans and want to
yeah.
kill you. Okay. What is there that you had to learn? You had to learn the sounds, the droppings. I mean, because believe it or not, this may sound laughable to a lot of people here, but you'll understand when I say this. One of the most important things you can find is poop.
Yep. Yeah,
Learn
for
your
sure.
poop, people. Learn your poop. There is a story about somebody who you have chatted with before, I believe, in Congressman Tim Burchett. Now, in a recent interview with Fox, he stated that the U.S. government would have about 270 days to release all UFO related documents to the public if a new congressional bill is passed. And Burchett is leading the way for UFO transparency and will introduce a new bill next week that would require President Biden to direct the heads of each federal department or agency to declassify all documents related to UAPs, also known as UFOs. Quote, it's simple. They spend all of the time telling us they don't exist, then release the files, dang nabbit. It's a strong statement when somebody says dang nabbit. They mean it. The UFO or UAP Transparency Act is what it's called. It'll be introduced on Thursday. He goes, I don't want some crazy fancy name for it. I just want them to do exactly what the bill is about. And then he goes on to say, this isn't about little green men or flying saucers from outer space. It's about just getting the job done. What's your thoughts on this?
Well, there was a really clear timeline when the NDAA was passed in December and Biden signed it. That set the timing forward for this basically like recordization release of all the records related to UAPs, UFOs, historical records. Anything over 25 years was supposed to be released, immediately without any kind of holdups. Anything within the 25 years was supposed to be weighed in on essentially by these different committees, armed service committees and intelligence committees. So there's various different silos that have discretion over what gets released, because if it has anything to do with sources or methods or technologies, then they would have discretion over it. But obviously the president would get to weigh in and have final say on whatever does get released. So there was a very clear timeline. It was like 300 and some odd days, and that ends up being October of this year. So that's why you're seeing this ramping up about releasing the records, release it now. because the archivists are the ones who are going to be in charge of this, and also probably staffers for these different representatives in these committees. They'll also be responsible for previewing everything. So it is very complicated. I think Burchett is trying to cut through some of the complications and saying, make it simple. But the hang up around that is any of these committee members, specifically probably armed services, will probably hold back, a lot of the records that they feel should still be classified.
All right. As we go ahead and get back here on Spaced Out Radio, having a camera issue here, which is strange. So bear with me. I'll go ahead and talk through it though for a moment here. So that was the week in review as we go ahead and hop right back into the future in our Spaced Out Radio time machine. And what we're going to do now is go ahead and get in. So what we're going to do is we're going to do an experiencer night tonight. And we have a guest, Brown Dwarf, who will be joining us in hour number 2. So what I want to do, and actually while I'm working the camera issue out, I'm going to go ahead and get into our Reno trip. We had a fantastic trip in Reno. Also, we may or may not have filmed an orb in the sky out in Reno. And if you've been looking around, there's been orbs everywhere, all over. I filmed some here in California if you've ever seen my UFO sighting. And then also there's been some sightings actually the same day that we caught this. Apparently there was another one that was caught somewhere else in the state of Nevada. So I'll just say that for now. But let's go ahead first and check out the Reno trip that in the ghost hunting trip that we actually had out here in Virginia City, Reno, or Nevada, Virginia City, Nevada. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into some flicks here. Actually, the first one here, this is the Red Dog Saloon. So this is actually where we actually met up right prior to the ghost hunting tour. We all sat here for lunch and had a great time. Really got to sit down and get to know each other, really. And like I say, it's really like a family atmosphere. Everyone that I met was fantastic. All the viewers, all of the staff here at Spaced Out Radio. It was, pretty much more than you could ask for, really. And I'm just, kind of in awe being able to be around people like R. Keith Andrews and Melinda Leslie. And I think we're good here on the camera. Let me check here. Yes, Melinda Leslie and Jim Goodall. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to forget people. So I don't want to leave anyone out, but everyone that I met was fantastic. So getting back here to the trip here, I got a few other photos. I couldn't get everything because the way that it worked was they didn't really want you to film during the ghost hunt or during the ghost tour as they were delivering the information. So it was more so of a situation where they would tell the story. And then once they were done, then you could go ahead and film what the surroundings or what it was that we were looking at. So I can tell you that we were in, and I wish Jax was here right now. Maybe we could show it tomorrow, but she caught video. We actually went into the Washoe Club in Virginia City. And as we were there, and the lady was telling the story, there were some pictures being taken. Or pictures or video. I can't remember the two. I think the lady had just finished speaking. She allowed us to start taking pictures. And I believe Jax caught an orb on a video. She showed it to me briefly. And maybe she can, when she comes in tomorrow, she can show it to us. But that was the one thing that happened. And it was really creepy, though. The Washoe Club, I'm not going to lie. In the back, they had the, I guess, a temporary morgue, where they stated they held the bodies of people within the town who passed away until the ground was soft enough for them to bury, right? Because they're out here in the desert. So the ground is pretty hard during the summer months. And they would hold them in this room, this kind of cold, not really refrigerated, but it was, cool enough to store bodies without them decomposing. and then they would actually go and bury them when the ground was soft enough to dig up. So this is where we met up, though. We met up here for dinner, and a lot of great people that we met here. Let me go through the next one here. This was along the ghost tour that we took. I didn't get the whole story behind this, but this town had some horrific fire back in the day, and this was one of the buildings that did not get rebuilt. So you'll have all these buildings in a row, just like in any sort of old, if you've ever been in an old town before, with the Victorian style buildings, they're really side by side. So this is a lot that was left over after the fire, and this was part of the mural, I guess, at the back of the building. So we took pictures there. My camera is actually pretty excellent too, because this was actually pretty dark when we took these pictures. But anyone who was there will remember this. This is another flick of that. You had Lee in the picture. You see Melinda Leslie here. She was pretty, she was there with us on the ghost tour. Let's see, moving on. This is just more shots of the mural here. I think I got a close-up here. Yep. So you got to figure this is back at a time where people, I think life expectancy was maybe 45 years roughly for the average adult, which when you think about what's going on today, we're more than double that, 3 times that in some cases. So that, I think that's pretty, it's pretty awesome, pretty scary, creepy sort of vibe too. You'll see why. There was a part of the tour where this is more flicks of the mural. Okay, sheriffs, they were out there hanging out with us. Really nice guys. This is me and Dave. Dave talking to, we actually ran into some bikers who were traveling from West Virginia to California, right? So it's pretty awesome. And we sat here and talked to this guy. He took off his coat, showed the patches on the back of places that he'd been across the country. So they had made it to Nevada on their way to California, and they were going to make the full trip back as well, back to West Virginia. So that was pretty awesome there. Let's see, what else do we have? It's just one of the signs, kind of gives you the feeling, the vibe of the area and kind of how it felt. This is low light. My camera is excellent in low light. This was actually at nighttime, so the sky looks like it's bare. It's kind of lit. It was actually fully nighttime. And then this was pretty creepy right here. So this was the entrance to a hotel, and literally you have a storefront, and then a door that had these steps, and then another storefront on the opposite side. So imagine walking down a boardwalk. You get to this part of the tour where they actually take you up this steep set of steps into this hotel. Ask me, I did not go. I was not going in that hotel. But some people did, and this is part of the tours. And you went up, and it kind of took you to a back street where they finished off the tour. So, all in all, I didn't personally have any or feel any sort of experiences. I know we had I don't even know the name of the machine. We had a little monitor where we sat there and we attempted to speak to spirits and things like that to see if we got a reaction on these devices. And we did. We got some reactions. They told us to record, because they stated in some cases when you play the audio back, you may hear voices and things of that nature, answers to questions that you may have posed during the ghost hunt, right? So, the ambiance was there. It was definitely a really kind of spooky vibe. Like I said, Merle did an awesome job setting this up and hosting this. I would do it again for sure. And I've been in other old towns like this, and they're always creepy. And this one did not disappoint. So let's see what else we have on here. I think we get into, okay, this is actually Lee Strauss has a freaking awesome cameras. This is part of the Skywatch. We went skywatching right after Virginia City on top of a peak of a mountain, pitch black dark. Lee had this awesome low light camera that picked up everything that was in the sky, everything. And I talked to him that night about potentially coming on, so we could kind of, once he's kind of scrubbed all this video, if we can go ahead and maybe show some of this on the show. So that's still, a possibility. I'm gonna talk to Lee about it, but I actually got a closer image so you can see. Look at how many stars, that's all those dots you see are stars that his camera was able to pick up. I think he said it was like a $4,000 camera with like a $3,000 lens, roughly, right? Crazy camera, picking up every single thing that moved across the sky in super duper high detail. It was completely awesome. So hopefully we can get Lee to come on and show some of this video. But the Skywatch was awesome. We got a few things that moved across the sky. And you tried to call in with C5. Nothing really occurred from that. Though we did have a few little, questionable things that we did see. So we'll talk to Lee more about that and see if we can get him to come on and show that. Outside of that, we get into, I think, the party, right? Okay, these were the T-shirts that you got in the swag bag for Reno, Nevada fan party, Space Out Radio fan party. So this is how it went. Essentially, we were at the hotel. We had these signs up everywhere that directed you to the conference and the event. That was really nice to see. You know what I mean? I kind of walked up on this sign. I was like, oh, let me take a picture of this. So we had this. We had this. Me, Dave, and Courtney Marcassani, right? Courtney is just awesome. She's just as awesome as you guys think she is. She's definitely a really chill, cool person. Dave Scott, the guy in the middle with the cool hat on, is also a really cool guy. And this was a moment right here. I'm glad I got this picture because I definitely respect these two. And it was really awesome just kind of sharing that moment. And this is why hopefully you guys can be there next year, because it's moments like these that we want to share with you guys. So we got a lot more of this here. And let's see, what else do we have? Okay, this is one of the meals that we had. This is actually, were we eating? No, we were actually at a bar at this point, kind of just hanging out. As you can see, Lee over there. You can see, I want to say there's Von Patrick over there and Jax as well, hanging out, right? Pretty cool stuff. And you got Mario over there. I forgot the gentleman's name right here. He's going to kill me. He's going to kill me because we hung out a few times while we were there. And that's why I say I'm not great with names, better with faces. Obviously, this is Melinda Leslie. And we're just sitting there chilling, having great conversation about the phenomena. Let's see, what else did we have here? The new couple. Congratulations. This is Lee Strauss and Jax. Awesome. We had an awesome time with them. Jax is a party animal. If invite her to your party, that's all I'm going to say. She was the life of the party. So this was awesome. We were at the bar hanging out this day. They were dancing inside that building there. What is this, right? This one, I couldn't stop it. Dave Scott came over as I was taking a picture and gave me a hug. I was like, look at this, right? This is one of those moments, right? This is one of those moments that I'll hold this dear because I really respect the guy. And like I said, meeting the guy in person was just as awesome as I thought it would be. And we really clicked. This is my guy right here, man. So Dave Scott, guys, you can get a hug from Dave Scott if you come to the next fan party for sure. Mama Catherine and Dave Scott. Mama Catherine, awesome. And actually, right after this, we're going to get into the white orbs in Reno, which is part of this whole show. I'm going to show you some of the things that we caught on film, right? I don't think anyone else caught anything, but we sat down with lunch, me, my lady, Mama Catherine, and Charlie. And while we were eating, conversating about the phenomena, we saw something. You'll see that in just a moment here. Let's see. Moving through here. Grant, Tavius Max. Awesome dude too. Kira. Awesome. Very, I I can't even hold it right. Awesome person, Jim Goodall, obviously the legend and the awesome dude. Tamoth Man, that's my guy, man. Shout out to Tamoth Man. If you're out here tonight, I didn't see your name in chat, but if you are in the chat tonight, Tamoth Man is a really cool dude to hang out with, and he's a cool dude, man. Tamoth Man, shout out to Tamoth Man. He is a cool dude for sure. And let's see, what else do we have? One of the epic moments that I'll remember, sitting down with R. Keith Andrews. I know you guys saw this part of the interview during the fan party show. If you didn't, make sure you guys go back and watch that video because it was actually pretty awesome. A lot of great conversations. I think it actually went off pretty well, but this will be one of those pictures that I put in the, I might end up putting them back here on this wall as I redo my set. So that was awesome. This is one of the meals that we sat down at. As you can see, myself in the upper right or left, Lorian Fenton, Jim Goodall, Melinda Leslie, Jessica Jones, Tom Whitmore, Mama Catherine, Charlie, and I forget, I think his name is Paul, if I'm not mistaken. The gentleman here right next to Mama Catherine. Awesome. We sat down, had great conversation at this moment. It was epic. And I think that's it for that slide. So that's it. So that was Reno in a nutshell. I wanted to make sure that we went through that. So, because I know you've seen posts on social media, but I wanted to bring it here and show what type of fun time that we had at this party. So now what we're going to do, me and Mama Catherine, myself, Charlie, and my lady, we actually sat down and had brunch. So this is the day after the fan party, the pictures you just saw. The day after, we meet up at about 12 noon roughly at this biscuit place. I don't know, some sort of biscuit place, but they serve really good food. So we're sitting down there, we're eating, and we're talking. We're sitting on the inside of the building, and we are having such a great conversation and enjoying each other's company so much that we were there until they closed, right? So we're just talking, bumping our gums, yapping, and they turned the lights off on us, kind of letting us know that, hey, we're closing. So we go ahead and take the conversation right outside where they had some a sitting area out there, and we continued our conversation, right? This is prior to going to Virginia City. And as we are sitting there talking, and I swear we probably talked 4 hours. I'm not going to lie, 4 hours, probably 3 to 4. As we are sitting outside, continuing our conversation, I look up in the sky, and it's pretty much a clear blue sky. There's no clouds. There's maybe one or two pretty much clear blue skies. And I look up and I see this white dot in the sky. And I just cut the conversation. In the middle of the conversation, I say, "What is that?" Everyone turns around. They focus in on the object, and everyone is like, "Whoa, I don't even know what that is." And we started taking pictures. So I know Charlie took some, and I'm going to show those first. I'm not sure what type of phone he has, maybe an iPhone, but you'll see the contrast because I also took pictures of this object. You let me know. You guys have seen my sighting before in a little white, the spheres that I took, and we're going to look at these and just tell me what you think. Because I didn't anticipate you have a sighting like the one I had, and it's been almost 2 years since then. I didn't really think that I would have another sighting, but I did, but I had this other, what I think is a sighting, and I was able to catch it on camera, which ends up being pretty awesome because now you guys get to see it. So this is what we saw. Let me get into that here. This is what we saw. And let me I want to do this full screen so you can see what we're looking at here. So let me do this here real quick. All right. So this is what we saw. So this is through Charlie's camera. Okay. So we're looking up. We're sitting on the, and we see this white dot, as you can see. You can barely see it right there in the top. So I zoomed in, or this is Charlie's photo, Mama Catherine's son. And this is the picture zoomed in. Okay. This is what we caught. And I'm going to show you different angles of this. So you're seeing it through an iPhone, through Charlie's camera right now. This is what it looked like zoomed in. So pretty anomalous. If you remember my sighting was similar to this object and similar to the object that was filmed the same day in another part of Nevada, I believe in Las Vegas. And you may be familiar with that. But here's another shot of it as well. Okay. You can barely see it, right? You can barely see it. And you see the dot up there and you're like, what is this? Here it is zoomed in. Okay. Has some sort of edge on it. Not sure what it was. Wait till you see it through my camera. My camera actually got it a little cleaner, the shots that you'll see. So let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at mine here. Okay, so this is to give you contrast. This is about the same scope or same shot that Charlie took. Same, and you can see the dot up there. We're like, what is that? Because it was kind of hanging out up there all by itself. And it looked like it was sitting still, motionless. So we're watching it. We watched this thing, I want to say probably 30 minutes, maybe 20 minutes at least, where we're tracking this thing go across, and it's slowly starting to move across the sky. And we're just waiting to see if it does anything. Here's this same picture zoomed in. So you see, okay, now you can start to maybe make out what you think it might be. But then I have some zoomed in pictures that you'll see here, right? Okay, so this is a zoomed in photo, and I'm going to zoom in even more on this object. So you'll see it at this size. This is what it looked like. And then this is what it looked like zoomed in. So taking a look at this, when I showed this to people, I'm not going to claim that this is a UFO. What I will say is that it is something very, very strange. And then when I show it to people, what I'd say is, or what I do is I say, tell me what it isn't. I'll tell you what it isn't. So I'll tell you it's not a cloud. I'll tell you it's not a bird. It is not a helicopter. It is not an airplane. And it is not a drone. So if we can mark those things off of the list, just thinking logically, then you have to start asking yourself, well, what could it be, right? And then that's where we start filling in the blanks. So I will say that based on just that alone, this is something strange. Okay, this is not anything that can just be explained with prosaic explanations. If anyone, and I like putting it out there because I want people to, think about what it could be, and then you may find an explanation. I don't know that you will, because tying the two things together, there was a sighting the same day in another part of Nevada. And maybe that comes out, maybe it doesn't, but there's video of one or two actually that were in the sky at the same time, and it actually looks exactly like this. Okay, and we're talking about Las Vegas and Reno are maybe 300, 400, somewhere in there, 300-400 miles apart. And we have the same objects in the sky in both cities at pretty much almost the same time. So you tell me what that is. Moving on, I have a few other shots of it. This is how it appeared. I took like 100 shots of it, just so you know, and I just picked like the best ones here. But this is it again, and then this is it close up. So is it changing shape? I don't know, because you couldn't, I didn't really track it for long. I tried to get it as much as I could through the camera, so I can verify that the camera shows that this is what it did. Okay, I have a few other shots of it here. And I know you've probably seen orbs and things of that nature. This, to me, with the naked eye, appeared to be physical. Though when you zoom in on it, it has a glow to it. So I can't say if this is the same thing that is my UFO sighting with the 47 objects. I could say that with the naked eye, it looks similar, although this was probably, if I had to guess, maybe 10,000 feet in the air, where my sighting, my 47 UFO sighting, was way lower than that because you could see the features on it with the naked eye. This was way higher, and I'd say, like I said, about 10,000 feet. So I have a few other ones. This is one here, and this is it zoomed in. So if you can begin to tell me what this is, then let me know. It's another shot of it here. So what do you think? Do you think anomalous? Let me know in the chat. What do you think? Looking at this, is this strange, or is this, when we talk about the things that it isn't, what do you think it is? If you had to guess, do you think anomalous? Do you think this is an anomalous object? Because I really don't have any explanation for it, but I will leave it up to you guys to figure out what you think it is. Let's see. This is also another shot of it. So it apparently during, like I said, I took about 100 shots. So shot after shot, back to back to back to back. At least 20, 30, pictures in a row. And I got this at one point. This is it zoomed in. This is it zoomed in. And then this is another shot of it. And this is it zoomed in. All right. So, and that was it. That's all we caught. The video, it was so high up that the video actually it came through, but it was a little blurry, right? And I didn't feel like it was good enough to actually use as for tonight. So the pictures came out way clearer, as you see on the zoomed in thing. So you let me know what you think this is. Tell me what it isn't, right? We mark off a lot of things on the list to say it isn't this, it isn't that, it isn't that. And then let's try to figure out what we think it is. But as you look at that, this is, I feel, something anomalous, and this did happen right before we went to Virginia City. So I thought it was pretty, I don't know. I thought it was ironic that we're in town for a UFO type of convention sort of situation, and then we see this just randomly. Is there a reason why we saw this? I don't know. But I think my real point is, if you ever go back to my channel, I have a video, I think it's episode 30, where I cover white spheres, where these same sort of things have been captured in a bunch of different places in the United States and Mexico, all over the world pretty much. And I think one of the things we need to do is make sure that we catalog this particular shape an object, because I think it's more than an orb. Like the ones I saw on my first sighting were physical objects. So, I think we need to kind of, build a list of, for sure, structures that are up there. And then these ones are being seen a lot of the time. So look up that little white dot. Look up if you ever see anything. And if this is my second time, it's really just a matter of looking up, because had we not looked up during that conversation, it's very possible we would have missed catching this right here. So just wanted to show you guys that. And what we're going to do, because we're going to actually get into our S.O.R viewer experiencer night in hour number 2, as we end up coming back with Puck Elf. So not Puck Elf, with Brown Dwarf. I'm reading Puck Elf in the chat. Shout out Puck Elf. You're on my mind right now. Shout out Puck Elf. So what we're going to do is go ahead, take a pause for the cause, and get ready to jump into the next hour of Spaced Out Radio and meet Brown Dwarf for the first time and see exactly what it is he is going on. I think it'll be great. So you guys kind of kick back, and we'll be right back in just a moment.
Conversations that move the needle.
Conversations that move the needle.
You're listening to After Hours with Mr. Rob G on the only place where you can own the night. Spaced Out Radio.
Spaced Out Radio. You've tuned your dial to the right frequency.
All right, all right. Thanks for coming back with us. Hour number 2, Spaced Out Radio. As we get back into the groove, right here, right now, we're gonna go ahead and get in. This is a new thing I wanted to try, right? As you see on the screen, S.O.R viewer experiencer night. So I think that's what we're gonna do. I want to do this maybe once a month, twice a month. We'll see how it works out. But your stories out there are just as important as the guests that we have on. So definitely want to make a niche or niche spot for viewers like yourself to tell the story. So I'll end up putting a post on social media and see who actually tags themselves in it. So we can build up a list and figure out how often we can do this. But we're going to do this for the first time with somebody that I've been wanting to meet for a while, person that we see in the chat showing love all the time. We're going to show the love right back. So let me go ahead and bring in the first participant, the first guest on our S.O.R viewer experience tonight. That is going to be none other than the man you all know as Brown Dwarf. Brown Dwarf, what's going on, buddy?
Good evening, Rob, SOR chat, and everyone else beyond SOR and all the other airwaves that everyone's listening to. Salute! I appreciate the invite, Rob. I'm honored, man, and I'm really excited to be on tonight, man.
Awesome. You have been, like I told you before, you've been on my radar. I've been wanting to figure out a way to do this, and I thought this would be the awesome way to kick this thing off and to meet you and kind of get this going. Because what looking at you and looking at the content that you put out and the conversation that I've seen you have in on your own channel, which by the way, Brown Dwarf has an awesome channel. Make sure you guys go ahead and go subscribe to Brown Dwarf. Always posting live, always putting something out there. A lot of great sightings as well. So yeah, this has been something that's been in the making because I definitely wanted to sit down and talk to you. I think you have a level head. I think your heart's in the right place. And I think you want the truth and you're looking for the answers. And the one thing I really love is that you bring those receipts to the table, regardless on what people think about it. You get the receipts, you put them forward, and you let people, vet and look over your content. So I think that's awesome, man. And keep up the great work. We have to link up because we're too close to not do that, right?
Yeah, no, and I'm glad we're doing it now, and the way it just came about, organically. I wasn't hounding you or anything, and I know you do your own thing on the social dig, which is really cool too. But and I'll tap into chat there, but I haven't called in, and I've been meaning to call in, man. Um, yeah, just it's been a wild ride, man. It's just interesting how we're all connecting now through this little bit of technology that we have and sharing our experiences. And it's an interesting time because it feels like as far as myself, things have been ramping up and I see it happening amongst others too. And to see you in it, like you said, we haven't really gotten to talk like this, and so this is new, a new conversation for me. And seeing the people that you've got to interview, there's some heavy hitters out there. And yeah, this is really cool, man. So wherever you want to steer this ship, I'm with you, bro. Ask away any questions. You got me.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that too. And yeah, so here's what I want to do because I've seen you. You've been on with Jessica before. I've seen those shows. But the way I do it, this is the first time us talking. Let's go back to the beginning, Brown Dwarf. How old were you when you kind of? I mean, and here's the thing, right? Because I'm gonna start it with this. Everybody, I'm sure, most of society has been into science fiction and kind of is aware of the things that have been portrayed in science fiction. At what point did you have a real experience where you kind of looked at it like, wow, this thing is real, and then start cataloging these things?
Yeah, I think it was pretty young, man. I grew up watching a lot of different television programs that were, paranormal and UFO related, alien stuff and just anything strange like that. And as a young kid, I was, man, just eating that stuff up. And I remember watching this program. I forget which one it was exactly, but they were talking about UFOs, and I think it might have been the Admiral Byrd situation, and they showed the UFO there, and it was kind of like this boomerang shaped UFO. And I remember watching the program and being in my room, and then it had cut to like commercials or something like that. And I remember looking out my bedroom window, but like upside down because I was laying on the floor. And I could see outside the window, and I thought I swore I could have seen a similar object way up in the sky fly by, and I thought that was weird, but I made nothing of it. I was just like, oh wow, was that what I was watching here, or just could have been that I was just watching it and somehow in my mind it
Yeah.
that happened. But that stuck with me till now. But yeah, throughout growing up, we've always kind of kept an eye out for stuff like that and heard about on the news reports and stuff like that. Of course, like Phoenix Lights was big. There's a lot of different things that I seen growing up that really still had my attention to this topic. And when things really started ramping up for me was when I had moved up north, Northern California. I was living up in Humboldt County for a while.
Mm.
Many of you know about this, and I was out in the woods and had really gotten into the Bigfoot thing. And I dove in deep to that stuff. And while I was, diving into that whole topic, I had orbs starting to pop up on our property. And at the time, I kept a real open mind on the Bigfoot topic, and I had heard about people encountering orbs and Bigfoot. I'm sure you've heard about that, and others out there too. And I was like, wow, because I was having things happen on the property that I thought might have been associated to Bigfoot. So I'm like, oh, it's possible that we're having activity here. And it was the perfect place for it. Actually, the county is known for Bigfoot, and but then these orbs started popping up, and I would talk to locals and friends and stuff like that were living in the county, but in other hills, and they all a lot of them knew about these lights, these orb type lights that would pop up, and that would happen usually towards the evening and throughout the night. And these things would, man, zip around the sky. They would zip around through the woods. I seen them dart up from the woods up into the sky, and vice versa, from the sky down into the woods. I had one encounter once where a bunch of these orbs, and they would change color. Sometimes they looked like stars, just like the object you were showing earlier, but at night. And it would look like a bright star, but just in the woods or something, not in the sky where the rest of the stars are. And sometimes they would look like stars, but they would start moving and doing things that just didn't seem normal. And so yeah, I started recording this stuff and posting to my channel because at the time I was checking out other channels and other people were doing similar and different things. And so yeah, I was really stoked and excited about that, and it was almost a nightly. It became almost like a nightly thing, depending on the visibility of uh, the skies, or sometimes the fog and stuff would come in thick, so you wouldn't be able to see anything at all, and it'd be a lot harder for me to see these things. But it was just a constant thing, and I kind of went in a little deep at the time. I was also learning about the missing 411 phenomenon, and had that in mind, and keeping in mind that there's uh the alien abductions and UFO abductions. And so I was being very careful uh when I was you know watching these things, because there was points where I felt like I was having almost like a mind speak or telepathic communication, you could call it. It was kind of weird, and I was questioning it. Was it me? Am I hearing these things, or is just my own voice? And in some of the videos you'll hear, I'm explaining. I try to be as descriptive as possible
Hmm.
about everything I was seeing and feeling and stuff like that. And so that's, yes, going several years back that was happening. And so yeah, moving fast forward now, I'm down here in Southern California, in Los Angeles. And my brother and I opened up this skate shop, smoke shop, and things have been going pretty good for us there. But and I don't know how it kicked off down here, but I had had a couple sightings because I was staying with my brother, and over at his place, we had a few sightings there that we were able to record, and then I can't remember exactly when it started popping off at the shop, but things started happening at the shop, and then there was a buddy of ours who had helped us at the shop do some work in there, and he had actually been going to these UFO group gatherings, and come to find out he was all into this stuff, and we were just catching up with life, and I hadn't seen him in a long time, and he's like, you should come to one of these gatherings and come check it out. And so yeah, I started going to these gatherings because the gatherings were actually very about 10 minutes away from the shop. There's a park nearby where they gather at. There's two
Hmm.
parks, and they're both very close to the shop, so it was super convenient. I was able to get the time off, and they do it like every last Sunday of every month, and things were happening there too. And we got video of that, and I just when I was getting into the Bigfoot stuff, I just learn to try and keep a camera on me or something to document, as much as possible. And some of my stuff is very raw, it's not nothing professional or anything like that. It's just like in the moment type things, then I'm just able to capture what I can. And just some of it's questionable, a lot of it's very strange, I think. And I think this stuff is happening more than a lot of people think, and when I say that we're having like daily sightings, it's almost like a daily thing over at the shop, so something's going on around the shop. um and I've been trying to look into it, see what could it be around there that's could be causing all these sightings. And I have noticed that I'm in a like, I guess you could call it a air traffic way. So LAX is quite a distance from us, but their traffic goes right over the shop. So a lot of air traffic go through there. Some of the planes are low, and I kind of figured out the flight paths almost. Like, I kind of got to memorize too, because I'm sky watching and checking out where the planes are flying, and it's just constant. And then the helicopters and all that, and we've also noticed a lot of military activity, and I don't have no idea what's going on with them, and I really don't, not poking my nose or anything at that, but I just do notice them flying right over these areas too. And yeah, there's just been some strange objects around these aircraft, man. And some of the civilian aircraft also, and even we're noticing things that just are flying around. It could be even normal objects like balloons, or just anything above a certain height seems to attract these certain objects. And there's an array of objects. It's like, everything from orbs like the ones you showed, to this some cylinder rod type objects, some even square rectangular type objects, man. It's really bizarre. And um and there's people that I've been starting to meet also that are capturing and doing basically the same stuff, and it's really exciting, man. And some of these people are local, and there's people that are in different states as well, and it's cool to see that. And so we've been, checking each other out, and supporting one another. And yeah, man, I can't wait to see what you're gonna have coming up soon here too, Rob. And I want you to definitely check some of these guys out too. You should have a interview with some of these guys. One of them is Latchkey Hustle. He's been in the chat, and
Yeah, I seen his name.
yes, and he's near me and is doing really good stuff on his channel, man. And he's also, I guess, friends with Robert Sheep, who's been on the show as well.
Yeah.
And he gets into he calls them the dragon UFOs, or dragonfly
Yeah.
UFOs. Yeah, because
Yes.
he thought they were a dragonfly. So we're getting a lot of those objects in our area too. So those are the ones that are really flying, and we call it tagging, or just flying very near anything that's flying. And Robert says it's like above 150 feet that he notices that these things start tagging and flying by. Um, and so those things are super bizarre. People, they do look like bugs, at times, because they do tend to have these like these little wings. It looks like,
Hmm.
but it's not a bug that I don't know anyone's been able to point out. Someone on the show actually, I asked someone who Dave was interviewing, I think, recently, and asked him if he knew about Robert's work, and he mentioned that he thought it was maybe some type of beetle, and I'm just wondering what type of beetle it is because it does some pretty amazing things. And these things are fast, man.
Yeah, I've seen those dragon craft. I have, and being that we're in the same vicinity, and with the amount of stuff that you've caught, have you captured things that look like the object that I showed today?
Yeah, definitely, man. All the time. I think that's one of the more common ones is and you said I would still kind of call it an orb, and it's weird because the different pictures you showed it seemed to have like different shapes. I don't know if the
Hmm.
pictures were turned a certain way or what, but it seemed to have like different almost shapes in the pictures, and that's something I've noticed also with some of these objects is that and we'll talk about like these silver type objects that you captured, and salute to you for getting it, man. I'm diving really quick. I think I think it's I was seeing in chat and some of the comments, and some people are saying a balloon, or it could be some sort of like a drone of some sort. And I question, okay, if it's drone, is it a civilian or is it ET? Um, and I was gonna say, so for you, and you said it towards the end also, um, the chances of you said, and I thought I heard you say you turned around and you happened to look right in the area where the object was, and that thing it seemed to be like a little pinpoint, it's super tiny,
Yes.
and for you to be able to see that and turn around and spot it like that, and that happens to me a lot. And so I think, to me, there's something to that. I think, could it be something inside of us? For you, could it have been that you were headed up there, um with maybe an intention to see
Yeah.
these things? Was it a manifestation of yours somehow, that happened, and those questions come to mind. And so I think there is something there, and I don't think it's one of these normal objects that people might think at first. um
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that because I would say that because I agree with you on that. I felt like, okay, did I somehow manifest this thing to show up? Because I don't want to put that on myself like I have this superpower that allows me to do this, because I don't necessarily feel that way. But that thought did cross my mind. Like, is it showing up? Are we the only ones that are seeing this? And Charlie and Mama Catherine, who were sitting, and my lady who were sitting right there, will tell you that this was a chance thing. We're sitting here talking eye to eye, and then I happen to look up at like 11 o'clock, 10, 11 o'clock, and happen to notice this little white dot out of a huge sky. So the way that I feel about that, and the other part of that, and what I wanted to talk about, because you mentioned that, based on the patterns that you're seeing in your area, that you're in flight paths, and these things seem to be attracted to planes or anything that's in the sky, essentially, really. And just so happens that, without saying too much, there was a sighting in Las Vegas the same day as mine. And in that sighting, I guess there were a couple of what look exactly like I took a picture of. They were following an airplane coming, as it was leaving the airport. So,
mhm.
and the object that I caught was maybe a mile away from the airport in Reno. So that, being able to put those pieces together to say these things are for surely always, interested in things that fly in the sky for whatever reason, is a big thing, because then maybe, if you want to catch a sighting, you go near an airport and you're almost guaranteed to catch, something in the sky. So I think, because really, I I always wonder why other people can't and aren't having these same sightings, because it seems like those, especially those little white objects, are, like you said, common, and they're up there all the time. So I think this should probably, if people realize this, that they are common, and then they start to look up, I think they might be able to more focus on these things. And then next thing you know, everybody has seen these things.
Right. I agree with that. And yeah, there was something you mentioned too that I wanted to touch on, but it'll come back. But yeah, no, I think for sure if what you, because yeah, you got to kind of train the eye, you know, even in the bigfooting stuff, you kind of train your eye for certain things, you know, looking for tracks or anything that, you know, doesn't look normal in the woods. You try to, you know, train your eye for looking out for stuff like that, right? And so yeah, once you start training your eye, you know, you start to see a lot more, I think. And also, yeah, for people, it depends on the people too that aren't having the sightings. Maybe, I don't know, maybe these people are feel a certain way inside. Because honestly, I could feel, Rob G, that even before you went up the trip, you know, because you guys were, you know, you guys would have the commercials and everything, and talking about the sky watching with Melissa, and so I know you were excited. You were
Yes,
excited to do this. So I could feel that you were pumped up, man. So
that
it
energy, maybe, right?
yeah, man,
It
it's
goes
real.
back
I
to
think,
that.
yeah, I think it's real that we could you know, set out ourselves to for a goal, and for it to be reached, you know, and things like this could happen, you know, and it's not that far fetched, man. And like the dragon thing, Robert even mentions that anyone could do it, you know, just give it a shot. He has little a little of some instructions that he has that, you know, is like kind of like a formula for you to be able to capture these things. I kind of do a little bit different, but it works for me. And yeah, you know, you mentioned earlier you got to get out there and look up and give it a shot, you know, record some stuff, even if it's just the plain sky, and you never know, things might start popping up for you, and there you go.
One thing you said for sure is just being prepared to record, just being prepared, period, at any moment to start recording. Literally, like if you know and understand that these things are real and you really want to catch it, just always be ready to record at any moment you're outside. Have that the best camera that you can, and I'll show this because I'm proud of this little thing. This camera right here on this Pixel 6 Pro, and I'm not sponsored by these guys, but I swear, the you saw how close I was able to zoom in on these objects. Now imagine if that object was a lot closer, I would have had picture perfect clarity on what the thing was. And just, you know, from my first sighting, I, because I was already doing the show at the time, I already knew, and I talked to I talked to some sky watchers who, you know, kind of schooled on just being ready to record, and kind of some tips on how that. So I was ready for my first sighting, and I was even more ready for this one. And you know, as it goes, I think just being prepared, like you said, is a great thing. In Long Island Bigfoot Mike, shout out to Long Island Bigfoot, because what he said, and this always sticks to me, and I always say to other people, is what he does is he just practice muscle memory in capturing things. So he says he holds his camera here when he goes out, like right about at the chest. And if he sees something out of the corner of his eye, boom, he turns and takes a picture. Regardless of what it is, you figure that out later. You know what I mean? Just
Mhm.
capture what you can. And I think with the evidence that you have on your channel, that it just shows if you do that and you practice that, you're going to catch stuff all the time.
Yeah, man. Sometimes I've joked around and talked about like it's like you got to practice like John Wayne, like you're John Wayne or something with the gun, you know, whip out the camera or whatever device you got going on. But yeah, man, it's there's been many times that I fumbled too. I wish there was a camera recording me as I try to record these objects, because that'd probably be funny. And it'd probably be cool to put together like a bloopers of trying to
No,
capture these things.
I get it. I get it, because it is, you know, some people, and that's what you have to do. You have to train yourself to not get stuck in that trance of wow, what is this, and not think to record. Like you literally have, that has to be the first thing that pops in your mind is record, and then wow, what is this thing as you're recording it, right?
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
you end up having the evidence, because I think and that's why they cut all of the experiencer stuff out of this government talk, because they know if they sat down and they just looked at your page alone, right, they would see a bunch of stuff that they need to probably explain. And that's just one person. And then they look at minds, and then just a lot of the other experiences out there, just the evidence that we all have. If they sat down and really sifted through that and did it in a public fashion where everyone was aware of the data that we put forward, I think it would be unanimous that yeah, something's going on and we need that explained like right now. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, man. No, it would be really cool to be able to help out. I mean, people that are into this, and I mean, people, the world, if you could. I mean, I don't know, man, but yeah, no, it gets dark. I know the topic gets dark. There's a lot of I think even Courtney touched on stuff last night, and salute and blessings to her. Safe, wish her safety and everything. And it's scary, man, how things could get deep and once you start digging into some of these topics and seeing what has happened to certain people and stuff, or what could happen, she talked about the whistleblower that got taken out. That's trippy, man, if that's true. And so yeah, there's that whole side to it, that's just like man, it's unfortunate that that's the reality, because how exciting! I mean, that this is going on, and we have the opportunity to experience whatever it is. And I'm very aware also of the whole UAP thing. As much as possible. I like how Dave explains it, that the UAP could be more of a man-made thing, and so I'm kind of with that. Um, and so I do question once again the objects. Could some of these things be these UAPs? Um, I don't know. Maybe we're just being fooled, and then you have the Vatican just the other day come out with the stuff they talked about, which I found very interesting. So I don't know. For me, that's kind of a flag there. Just be aware of anything that may be appearing and stuff like that. So yeah, but once again, it goes back to like, if it is that like feeling that you had, and there is something there, that there's a connection inside with how we're living and feeling to some of these objects, then yeah, there's something else there that maybe they don't want us to be tapping into, and or maybe not yet. And so yeah, and I also do believe that there is a these some of these objects, could be negative, and there is some positive ones. I don't know how to tell the difference yet, um and so I question them when I'm seeing them, and I try to take note of how, once again, how I'm feeling, my surroundings, what's going on, and just yeah, it brings me to just being a little more aware in my life, and yeah, it made a lot of changes also that I've noticed recently in my life, that I don't know, could it be part of why I'm seeing these things too, or why other people are seeing these things. I also feel that people as a whole are making a shift. There is a shift going on, some sort of people call it what is it, woke, or some sort of awakening. I do believe there is something going on, but within that also there is, that polarity too of the dark and the light. So we got to be careful with everything, and but I do feel strongly there's something going on, Rob, for sure. There's something on going on, and we got to get on it.
Here's the scary part of it is, okay, well, I think two things are happening. I think it appears and maybe this is because I was able to capture two different events, which I'm thinking I thought I was lucky with the first one, and I would always tell my girl, it's been almost 2 years since then, and literally there are people who've gone their whole lives without seeing anything. So were there chances that I would have that one sighting and then nothing else for the rest of my life? Like that was it. And then it just showed to be able to have this other sighting. And like you said, maybe it was due to energy and some sort of manifestation that happened, because I sort of on the inside kind of feel that way, even though it sounds wooey, and I don't really want to go out on a wooey because I want to stay more middle of the road with this. But I think it feels to me like really these things are just showing themselves, and they're like, dude, we're here we are, right? So it almost feels like because of that maybe disclosure, as far as like catastrophic disclosure, which is them just showing themselves to everyone, I think that's a real possibility. It kind of feels that way. Dude, they're trailing planes and doing things like, these things are being watched. So someone has saw whatever. Anytime that happens, someone is seeing that for sure. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
like, are they getting to that moment where they're just like, forget it, here we are, and then let's go forward? How are you feeling about that? Because I know the energy thing, I can see that and feel that, but I would wonder, like, if other people started just looking up and then maybe they see the things, are they just really opening themselves up to everyone? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
How do you
Yeah.
feel about that?
Yeah, no, I think I think, yeah, well, it seems like they're really attracted to certain people, and whether they're into it or not. And but then it's hard to say, man, because I believe there's so many different objects, and these different objects
Yeah,
could be different things. And there's certain people that claim that certain types of objects have certain type or belong to certain beings, and stuff like that. And so it's hard for me to say. But yeah, going back to that, I wanted to go back really quick before I forget that
yeah,
feeling thing. Even going back to the feeling thing, so you told me about coming on tonight, and so throughout the day I'm thinking, all right, yeah, well, I'm gonna be on with Rob tonight, and it's been really overcast, so I haven't really captured anything in the past week or so. But then today the skies kind of opened up towards the later part of the day, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, okay, I'm gonna send Rob this and that, I'm gonna send him a few things. And so I'm out there doing my thing, and I'm looking, and so I'm kind of thinking to have you in mind because I'm sending you this stuff. And sure enough, the orbs start popping up. And so I got a little video, and I gave you kind of a little shout there. And I'm not sure if you've seen that, but I posted that today, and it was pretty cool. And it's once again like this weird, I don't know, this feeling inside, and it just happened to look up towards the right of me, and there they were. Um, yeah, I don't know. Pretty weird, man. I just think, and it's happened to me before, right before I go on to certain shows. I could be talking to the person ahead of time, and right before the show starts, I'll get a sighting, and I'll record it, and I'll let them know in the video that, hey, we're about to be on, and da da da, and here's this object appearing. And so it's just really, I don't know, it gets really intense around the shop, man. And I haven't done any nighttime stuff. I would like to see what's going on around there at nighttime. And bring me back to the any question you may have had too, because I kind of tend to swing around, and, and
nah,
and I'll
that's
lose
fine.
myself sometimes. And
That's
also with
fine.
the time, Rob G, at any point you need to cut me off, feel free, because I don't keep track of the time either. So
Yeah, don't even worry about it. We got about 20 more minutes to go here, and so we're good. And I know you did send me that stuff over, and I'm gonna bring it up because I can share it. So I want to do that. But before I do that, because I know you're into the cryptid stuff too, I just want to touch that real quick.
Mm,
So you said that you were in Humboldt at one point in time, and obviously there's nothing but woods out there,
mm,
and stories about Sasquatch. And I would bring up this one story that I guess they were telling within the people in the area. And there were people, there were farmers out there, and they had stories of people being killed essentially by what
Oh,
they were describing being torn apart by what they said potentially was.
yeah.
Have you
Yeah,
heard that?
I think that
What do
that's
you know about that?
a documentary called what was the name of that one? It's
Yes,
called Sasquatch.
yes.
And that took place in Mendocino County, which is right under Humboldt.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy, I guess, is known for doing documentaries and stuff. But I think at the end, it ended up being that the Bigfoot, it was actually a guy named Bigfoot Gary or something like that. So it was actually a dude. So what?
Ah,
Yeah, kind of
okay.
spoil alert there. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, no, because I know they would. There was also the possibility that they were making stories up to keep people from coming into that area.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. I'm
when
sure.
you were up there, did you see anything, or did you have any sightings
Oh
while
yeah,
in
yeah, yeah,
Humboldt?
yeah. I had two sightings up there, man. I've talked about it on shows before, and like I said, the whole Bigfoot thing, we could do a whole other show on that. But yes, I've had a couple sightings, and so I've gotten some interesting videos in Bigfoot hotspots where just some weird anomalies, and it could be these creatures. I feel like it could be these things, but I haven't been able to prove it. But there's some interesting videos that I've gotten out of Humboldt that man, it's just make you question for sure. And but yeah, the sightings I've had were pretty. I for me were just did it for me. I know they're real. I know they're there. And this last trip that we were up there, we ran into a couple guys who actually shared some videos that they got of some nice trackways in the snow up near the Bluff Creek area. Because that's where the Patterson Gimlin film was taken, also, right, Rob G?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's kind of like the mecca, and so that happens to be in Humboldt, and so that was a big thing for me too. And that whole topic is that situation happened there, and I happen to be living in the county, and yeah, I get to go there, and it's a good spot. So there's still activity there. A lot of people question if there's still anything going on. Some people don't, but there's recent stuff out of there, and it's super exciting.
Yeah, and then before we ain't gonna go too deep because this obviously is SOR viewer experience tonight, so we can set up a proper show and go into the cryptids and everything. But one question I did have for you to get your view on it is: do you think the Bigfoot or something that lives in this realm, or something that steps in and out of our realm?
I think it's very possible that it probably steps out, um, or else we'd be probably catching these things
Right.
by now, right? And so yeah, I'm totally open to them being able to do just things that would blow our minds. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm totally open to things like that because there's so much of this realm we don't know, and a lot of us feel like we do, but I know there's so much more we don't, and we're slowly, finding out that certain things are possible and real, man, and so yeah, I'm totally open to that, man, and I've heard of some far out stories, and some of the videos that I'm telling you that I got, there's some bizarre things happening where it looks like they're possibly uh appearing and disappearing. And if anyone, just leave a comment on this video here. If anyone ever wants to check out any of those videos, I could always share those on my community page. It's kind of just buried in my channel, but yeah, it's there's Humboldt's definitely a good spot, and also for the stuff up in the skies. It's not really like people don't really talk. I guess it's not known as a UFO hotspot amongst the UFO community. I don't think I haven't heard anything, or have never been to any gatherings, but I think there is people that probably gather up there. But it's a perfect place for sky watching too, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, I know you often talk about that, and that was one of the things I wanted to connect with you on, and we will connect on that. Like I said, you're way too close for that not to happen, so
Hmm.
we're definitely gonna do it. And plus, you, I think you bring a lot to the table when it comes to having these discussions, and then just the knowledge base based on the experiences that you've had and what you've captured. So I do want to get into this because when we were talking about the sightings that you've had, and you've captured a lot of great stuff. So I want to go ahead and show some of that here. We have
And I appreciate the kind words, brother.
yeah, man, always, man. Just keep doing your thing, man. Because
Likewise.
we need people who are pushing this in the right direction. I love to promote that, and I think we both do that same thing. So I'm with you on that. But here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and bring this up here. So probably showing my whole business, but here goes the if I can get this to show on a full screen. It's not going to help being that small. All right, let me do something real quick here.
Yeah, and this is always like for me, it's like a gut wrenching moment. It's like, oh, when it's time to show, like your videos or pictures, you just pray that it works out. And even if it doesn't, it's all good, man. We could always people could check out the channel, but
Yeah, that would be a
yeah, and
shame.
and you're so smooth about it, Rob G. The way you navigate the show, man, is you're pro, man.
I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Because situations pop up, man, and you just have to get through them, man, because the show has to go on. But
Yeah, no,
this is
you troubleshoot like a G, man.
appreciate, and I come from a troubleshooting background, so
Hey,
maybe that's part of it.
no
But yeah, I
say.
really want to show. So I'm just going to show this. I don't really care. We didn't really say anything in these messages. So let me let me see how we can do this the best way for everyone to see this. I'm going to try to bring it up full screen here. All right. So, world, here's my messages. It's all good. And okay. That's just not good.
Yeah,
That's
and no
good.
worries, Rob. If it don't work out, it's all
So,
good, brother.
these are on your page, right?
Yeah, yeah, man, and
Let me
actually,
go.
you told me to kind of select a few because there's so many, and
Yeah.
they vary. I want to do mention some of them vary. Sometimes there's tiny little dots like the one you got, and sometimes people complain. It's like, dude, you can't see that, but it is what it is. The object is appearing the way it is. Whether it's far away or happy, because these things sometimes tend to dim or they'll get really bright and stuff like that. And so I can't control what these objects are doing. I'm just doing the best to document. And so some of the videos, and then some of the videos are just like, wow, there it is. And but
What
yeah,
is your
no worries,
YouTube?
Rob G.
Is / at.
It's a brown_dwarf.
Okay, that's what I did. Let me see. So at least we can just grab a random thing here. Man, the videos you said were awesome, though.
Yeah, no worries. We'll work on that, man, for next time. Hopefully this won't be the last time.
Never. Yeah, we're good. So disappointing, guys. Okay,
No
yeah.
worries.
All right, so let's do this. Man, he has awesome sightings. So here's what I'll just say for sure. Make sure you go to Brown Dwarf's page because that's where all this stuff is at. And he sent some really clear, like silver spheres and things that wanted to show here. And you know what I'm gonna do? It just okay. Maybe someone could see it. I'm just gonna go ahead and show them anyway, man. That's what we're gonna do.
Well, let's give
And
it a
then
shot.
we'll
Well,
give it a shot.
remember, YouTubers can zoom in 8 times. I think if you're on, I don't know if desktop, but I know mobile you could.
Nice.
So
Okay,
don't
okay.
forget that. I mean, it'll pixel it out for sure, but don't forget you could do that on videos, folks.
All right. So here we go. Here we go. I'm giving out your number and everything, man.
Oh no, it's all good, bro.
Okay. All right. So there we go. Okay. At least we got that.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one there. Then that one was like a silver, metallic silver and black, and it was like a half sphere. So it was like flat at the bottom, and then it kind of has a little dome on top. And yeah, it's pretty visible. When you really look at the picture, it pops. And that
Yeah.
thing was darting around, And I've seen these several times. I've seen them fly by the military choppers really close, and sometimes I believe it's the same objects, but it seems like they could change shape too. So, you know,
Yeah, yeah, and that's man, look at that thing, guys. Look at that. You can see sun shining on top of it, and that's the other thing, right? Because we're in the age of Photoshop, and it's I know I would never say that you're photoshopping, and it's just you're bringing what you get straight raw from your is right on your phone, and that's the what I want to kind of get the word out there that there are a lot of there's a group of these photos that are pure raw photos, and this is a really great photo because you can see it really well, the definition, the flatness on the bottom, you can see the sides that are shadowed, so that's a really good catch. Let me see what else we have in here.
and I wanted to mention too. Well,
Yeah,
isn't there metadata that people could look into on pictures and videos and stuff like that too? So I don't know if that would help to like if someone were trying to defend themselves and say that it worked Photoshop. But yeah, I don't even know how to Photoshop really. I mean,
exactly,
I'm
and
not
that
I'm
that's
not I'm not no pro at that.
that's the word that we have to get out there because I think a lot of especially going into AI now and all that, there's a lot of people, and for people who can't see that, there's a white dot right there that is essentially exactly like the one I took a photo of, and the one that was reported to have been videoed down in Las Vegas over that on that same day. So it just shows that these things are appearing by aircraft for whatever reason, and I don't know what it is. And then there goes the silver. What? That is bananas, brown dwarf. That is
Hmm.
bananas. Let me see what we got here. Okay, can you explain this one? Let me see. Can I
So
go?
that's gonna be one of those dragon type, um, like the one Robert talks about,
Yes.
custodian file over on YouTube. So I zoomed in on the actual object, and then I zoom out, and it's pretty much directly in front of the airplane, if I'm not mistaken. And I zoom out to show how close, and I scrub the video back and forth so you can see the action of the object. And the object's pretty tiny, so it's going to be very difficult for me for you to see. I could barely see it on here. um but yeah, there's a lot of those types of videos on the channel. that
Okay.
was that was someone trolling in the background.
Okay. So that one is on Brown Door site. Make sure you guys check that one out. And if you guys can see, this is obviously I haven't hit play yet. I don't know how well you see this, but you can see if you see my arrow, this object right here. And this is another one of those dragons, right, that you're talking about.
Well, that one seemed to be more of a cylinder or rod type, but it could be a really big dragon. Usually the dragons aren't that big, so I thought this
Okay.
one was kind of different, and it seemed to be under what looks like a osprey. Um, is the military chopper, the dual, has a dual propellers and stuff. I believe it's the osprey. And that one, it kind of has a shadow look to it, the object, so it's going to be super difficult to see
Wow.
like this. But if you could see it, the actual video, that one's a pretty mind blower on that one. It moves so
Yeah.
fast, and
And this is just you catching this on what type of device did you catch?
that's just my iPhone. So I just recently upgraded to the iPhone 15 from the 14. And man, I'm saving my pennies. I just heard that Canon. I need to upgrade to a camera because I've gotten a lot of people complaining about the footage and the quality and all that. So I do want to step up my gear to bring you guys a better quality and for
Mhm.
myself as well. But I heard, I don't know if you heard, Rob, but Canon is hopefully releasing a new camera this year. So I'm super excited about that. I know it's going to be really expensive, but I'm saving my pennies now, and I believe it's the EOS R1. So people are excited about this.
Yeah, and one way you can gauge is by taking going out and just taking a picture of an airplane or something that's pretty high up and see what the resolution is, what type of quality or clarity you can get with that camera, because that lets you know if you catch something else up that high, that you should get similar results. Here is the other silver orb that you filmed. Is this the
Hmm.
same one as with the flat side, or if you
Nope. So
this one?
that one's different. So it looks similar, and it could be that it's this a similar type of object, but this one seems to be a lot more oval. So the other one was like flat at the bottom and a dome, and this one's more oval, but it also is that metallic silver and black.
And this reminds me of the Mosul orb a lot. I mean, do you feel like that, or
Uh, I'm not familiar with that. What was it again?
the Mosul orb, or the one that was in Iraq that they
Oh,
filmed?
okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's like the perfect metallic sphere.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's not that perfectly round, but it's along those lines. And what's interesting also is that sometimes there's videos that I've gotten where there's these objects, and I had sent you one of them. That one's gonna, I think it was the first one you showed. That was hard to see, but and it tags the military chopper. When it tags it, it also turns this. I time stamped it, and it looks very similar to this. And
Mhm.
in the other in the video, it was in motion, and it's super fast. So here, it just seems to be hovering.
Okay, definitely. And then I know there's at least another one here. Let me scroll down.
I'm glad those two were able to show. And look, this one seems to be more
Wow.
of your like UFO flying saucer type deal.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is a timestamp here, so I just timestamped the video, but in the video it starts to morph and it like breaks up into different pieces, and it looks almost like balloons. And I've come across the word through some of my friends that I've been making that are into this stuff, and they call it anomaloons. I don't know if you've ever heard that term.
No.
Yeah, so some of
This
these objects that tend to look like balloons, but are questionable. They call them, I guess, anomaloons, and yeah, they could come in all different sort of forms. And I'd like to recommend a documentary on YouTube. It's called A Balloon Cult. I know sounds gnarly, but it's a two-part, and it got referred to me. The guy who made it actually commented on one of my videos, and because a lot of the objects I was capturing tend to have a tether, so it looks like a balloon. So it'll be like that silver object or this object, but it'll have a tether, so people think automatically a balloon, but yet these things are doing all these weird things that I just described. And so yeah, he's the gentleman in the documentary is kind of breaking down that and it's really really deep. So I just recommend watching it, and it kind of will explain some of this weird stuff that is happening, that's so just strange and confusing and so different. And so yeah, so these balloons um tend to pop up too, and sometimes they are balloons. And I noticed around the shop there is some big cemeteries on that side of East LA, huge ones. And so yeah, I keep in mind that there flowers, balloons around in the area. Um and but no, these anomaloons seem to be something else. And could it be UFO, UAP? We're not sure. And yeah, they could shapeshift, disappear, do all the things that we describe as UFOs. But the guy in the documentary doesn't look at it as we look at the UFO phenomenon. So it's a different point of view, and I find it very interesting. So please check that out if you're into this stuff.
Oh yeah, and it so would let me ask you this. So the non-balloon, would that actually would the jellyfish UAP fall into that category?
Yeah, so I started calling because someone mentioned that some of these objects that were looking like balloons in my videos, they mentioned the word jellyfish, and that was right before the whole jellyfish and the situation that just happened recently happened. So I was titling some of my videos jellyfish. And because it does look like almost like tentacles, and it does look like almost like a jellyfish or a balloon when it's from afar. And so yeah, and so the word once again anomaloons comes up. um and so yeah, that balloon cult documentary really opened my eyes to a different perspective, so peep that out.
Definitely will. Also footage, and let's check out this one here.
See, there you go. So there's a black and silver, and that was a timestamp picture. In the video, the object flies up from below, and it pauses right in front of the chopper there. And so I'm wondering, those guys, those pilots, must have seen that thing.
Right.
Either whether it's if it's to the side of it or directly in front of it, but they must have seen it, and it shined when it went that white, because the object was completely black when it was moving, and right when it hit that point you get that white little flash top part of it, and then it kept going.
That's why it bothers me with the government, because if these things keep being seen by aircraft, it's only a matter of time before something goes bad here. Let me try to bring this one up here.
And
Okay.
so you
Can you
see the
see my
little,
arrow?
yep.
Okay. So this is the object he's showing, if you guys could see that.
And it's probably a dragon. It looks very cylindrical in shape. I know it's super tiny, but when you see it, cylindrical in shape. And this was at the SoCal Air Show at what was it, March Air Force Base in Riverside County, Southern California. And my buddy, once again, who invited me to the UFO group gatherings, was like, "Hey, they're having a air show and it's free. I'll drive." And so I was able to get the time off. And I just had that feeling, Rob. I felt like, the feeling we're talking about. I was like, man, there's got to be action at the air show. And sure enough, I did as much recording as I could, and the object, sure enough, started popping out. And that was like right before the whole stuff at the shop really started popping off. So it was like a good introduction to everything that was happening.
That is another awesome pick. And let me see this one here.
And there, look at the propeller that's closest to you there. You see that there's an object
Yeah,
right near the
right
propeller
here.
there. Yep, and that's going to be, Robert would call that a dragon, and once again it's tagging the the military chopper there. And that was actually in a different part of town. It was near the shop. Um and actually the area I was checking out a UPS, oh no, it was FedEx. And at that FedEx, they actually have a helicopter pad. What is it? Helipad?
Yes.
Yeah, so I found that interesting. But I heard the chopper before I seen it, and I knew it was coming, because these choppers have a particular sound, and and you feel
Oh,
when they're
yeah. That
coming.
low hum. Yep.
Oh yeah, you feel it and you hear it. And so I got my camera ready, and boom, as soon as it went by, I took video. So there's video of all these timestamp pictures. There's full on videos to these. And like I said, it's just buried in the channel. It's a matter of going through it and hopefully finding. And if there's a particular one that anyone's interested in that I mentioned tonight, or anything I mentioned, just drop a comment on this video or over on any of our channels.
Yes. I
There's
mean, this is another one here,
mm-hmm.
right by a commercial aircraft full of people.
Yep.
Man,
You see that?
keep that in mind, guys. This aircraft right here is full of people, and then you have one of these objects this close. Most
Mhm.
people in here are probably unaware that this thing is here. The pilots may be aware, maybe not, who knows. But just to know that these things are so close to you while you are flying at 35,000 feet or whatever altitude this is, that is something to be concerned about, right? So that's why the government, and we know they're going to drag their feet to do it, but they need to come out and say and explain this, because if I see this and I know that they're following these planes all the time, or they're in the air traffic lane, I'm not going to fly, or I'm going to think twice before doing so. So that's where it's great that you have caught things like this, because it shows clear point evidence that these things are flying right by commercial aircraft.
Yeah. Or I'm gonna change airlines and fly Dragonair
Yeah,
instead of Qantas or or
exactly.
Boeing. Um, yeah, man, trippy stuff. And what was I gonna? Oh, I was gonna go back to, you had mentioned in the show further back that that these things are flying around. You know, could be flying around airports and stuff. Well, what was that big sighting that we recently had? The LaGuardia Airport. It was the lady on the airplane, and she kept
Yes.
right.
Yep. Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. Great.
And
Great point.
and her being up at that elevation is maybe why she got that nice crisp pic too, you know, or video.
You are right about that. And that just goes further to show. And I think that should be one of the main focuses. I think if that was the conversation that was being had, we know these things are in the sky, but okay. These things are not just in the sky, but they're coming very close to these commercial aircraft. Now that should be worldwide, like panic alert. That should be the news that the national media is reporting on, because I think with so as many people that actually fly, that this would be concerning. It should be concerning that these things are up there. Now we have a couple more. Which one is this?
So this what I would call another anomaloon, and if you could, it has a green, a nice like emerald green color to it, and it looked like a emerald mylar balloon at first, but then it started shape shifting, and so I time stamped it right at this point where it looked like almost like three or four orbs together, and there's no tether on that. And I know sometimes balloons don't, you know, they don't have a tether, so it just looked like a it could look like an orb or whatever, right? But yeah, this had no tether, and it was just doing the morphing thing. And it's been several times where I've captured these emerald green ones, and there's also a metallic, like a reddish, these reddish ones that appear. There's also blue ones. Yeah, they come in different colors, and I feel that they could change color and change shape once again. And yeah, it's a pretty trippy one here. And once again, full on video of that. And that one was flying pretty low and up over the shop there.
All right, and I know we have another one here.
And this one was another. It was weird. It was flying right behind the plane, and I just time stamped it right at the point where it was the most clear and visible. But throughout, when it was moving through behind the plane, it was once again morphing and changing all these weird different shapes and stuff. And some of those timestamps are very strange looking too. It looks nothing like this, but I like this this shape here. It looks pretty trippy.
Definitely, definitely. And that one right now is the last one in the list. So I want to make sure that we were able to take a look at that. This is awesome stuff, Brown Dwarf.
I
And
Man,
it just shows that other people, like if you're out there and you haven't had a sighting, it shows these things are up there all the time. Now the question now is, what are they and why are they there? Right? Because you get we get these one-offs, the one here, maybe two, maybe three. But then, like in my sighting, where I have 47 of these things at one
hmm
time, and they're flying in a formation, you got to ask yourself, like, what is this about? Like, why are they doing that?
yeah, and
There has to be a reason.
yeah, I'm sure there is. And Rob G, I wanted to touch that. I got those similar. And I've been calling them knot birds because there's a cryptid called the knot deer, but I've been calling them knot birds.
Yeah,
And you might have
like
seen in the chats. Don't feel like I was trolling you on that or anything, but I've gotten those similar objects, brother, and I gotta send you that video. And it wasn't that many that you had, but it seemed like a flock.
yeah,
And yeah, they did very similar things to your video. So
yeah. You got to
I'll
show me that. We have to
yeah,
link
I'll
up
get
on that
that to
one.
you, and hopefully we could do maybe like a comparison and stuff one day.
Yeah, let's set that up. Let's set that up. So what we'll do right now, because this is just SOR viewer experience tonight, something I want to try to get going and get just viewers involved in the conversation. Me and you will have to set up a proper show, and then we'll be able to do that. So and do exactly what we're talking about. So
Anytime.
if you can go ahead and let everybody know where to find you at.
Yeah, I believe it's just like my name here. If you type in Brown underscore Dwarf, my little logo should pop up. It'll be a little baby Bigfoot holding an orb, and then a human hand holding the Bigfoot. And yeah, just go ahead and click there. YouTube's been super sketchy, you guys. Even on SOR since yesterday, I've been having to resubscribe, and every
Mm-hmm.
time I resubscribe, everything shows up properly, and then I'll go back to the channel page like immediately, and even a while later, and it's unsubbing me from SOR and a lot of other channels that I frequently follow. And I could understand if that happened, like to maybe a channel I wasn't following, but so make sure you guys are subscribed and do that periodically because it seems to happen. And make sure you guys hit those thumbs up and tickle the algorithm for us because it helps
Yeah.
us out a lot. And I
Yeah.
want to, yeah, I don't know if we're coming to an end here, but Rob G, thank you, brother. I appreciate this. Thank you, Dave, SOR, everybody out there, even the old SOR team members like Tim and uh who else is out there? Grant Tavius and Terry. Salute to them and yeah, much love to everyone out there.
You know what? And actually, Brown Dwarf, we're gonna hang on because
All right.
I had our hour 3 person. I don't know, it's supposed to come in, but
Yeah, no
so,
worries, man.
yeah, we'll figure something out. So right now we'll just everybody kick back as we go ahead and get ready to jump into our hour 3, and maybe you can just hang out as well and chat with them as well.
No
So yeah,
problem, man.
okay, we'll do that. So you guys kick back, relax as we go ahead and get ready to jump in to our hour 3 right here only on Spaced Out Radio. Make sure you guys don't go anywhere.
Conversations that move the needle.
Conversations that move the needle.
You're listening to After Hours with Mr. Rob G on the only place where you can own the night. Spaced Out Radio.
Spaced Out Radio. You've tuned your dial to the right frequency.
All right. Welcome back to Spaced Out Radio after hour number 3 as we go ahead and get ready to jump in to, as you can see at the bottom of the screen, our guy, Travis Moostus, who will be coming in with the Paranormal Report. We got Brown Dwarf hanging out with us as well. So Brown Dwarf, feel free to jump in on the conversation at any time as we go ahead and bring Mr. Travis Moostus to the stage. Travis, here we go. Travis Moostus, ladies and gentlemen, how are you?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Thanks for having me tonight. It's good to see y'all.
Good. And Travis, it worked. Your audio is excellent, sir. So let's keep doing that. And welcome. Introduce you to Brown Dwarf. If you guys haven't met Brown Dwarf, Travis Moostus, Brown Dwarf.
Salute, brother.
Hey, good to meet you. Good to meet you. I always wondered who was Brown Dwarf.
Brother, it's a pleasure, man.
Yes. So we got an awesome panel sitting here. So Travis, it's Paranormal Report. Any weird stuff been going on lately? Anything you can report on? Anything you've been seeing?
No, well, just like I said, I'm just getting a lot of animals right now, a lot of wildlife, and it's because of the Fort Nelson fires. We had like a week of like just straight up overcast of smoke in the air, and so I couldn't really see anything visibly at night in the sky. It's clearing up though as of lately, but it's been constant rain, like 3 days of rain. So now we're just kind of getting to the end of that. So clear skies ahead, right?
Definitely. And Travis, if you can go right into your audio settings. Click settings, go to audio, and just turn your mic down a little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah, that's a bummer about the fires. I've gotten to experience that several times living up north. Scary stuff. Hopefully, the animals are safe, man, and hopefully it doesn't run the Bigfoots out of there.
Yep, and
usually they portal, they portal out.
There you go.
And so I would think, does that indicate? So does that mean then so you would think, right? If these cryptids or Bigfoot are physical things, they too should be affected by the fire. Are you hearing about, in the area any an uptick in sightings because of that, or what do you think usually happens with them? Because I believe they step in and out of the realm. So maybe they step out of the realm when this is going on. And then when everything's okay, they step back in. What are you thinking or what are you hearing out there?
Usually that is the case, that they will pop in and out of the realms and interchange reality, or they'll head somewhere where it's very secluded and out of the fire. That's another resort that they go to, as in for the sightings, though, I haven't really been hearing too much. Like people, actually, there's been a lot of bear sightings. That's about it. Like a lot of black bears, a lot of grizzly bears in the area. So we've been seeing those. So in terms of like giant predators, there's been that lurking.
You know what comes to mind? Speaking of fires and the question that just came about, is the whole Mount St. Helens case. I believe is when the volcano erupted. There's reports of supposedly Bigfoots that were injured there, and talks about some being like airlifted out of there and stuff like that. So it makes me question that situation.
Yeah, so Browndorf, would that mean then that I guess that would mean that they have to be physical then if something like that is going on.
If that were true, right? Because
Yeah.
supposedly there's video of this stuff. I've never seen it, but who knows? It makes you wonder. And I would like to think that they could bail out before anything like that would happen.
Well, see, what I was always taught from my elders and stuff was that they do die, and when they die, they bury their dead under the trees because that will give back life to the circle of life and the planet, and kind of like just returning back to the earth kind of deal. And that was like one of the ways that they buried their own.
Okay. And Brown Dwarf, obviously you have a lot more expertise when it comes to these things, these searching for these things. So
We know there's no experts.
well, yeah.
I
No,
feel you.
no one knows it all. Let's make that clear. No one knows it all. But I feel like when you have a catalog or you have a data set to pull from, that you can more so formulate patterns to kind of give a best case guesstimate of what might be going on. And that's really what all these conversations are, really, is just trying to see what's most logical, plausible when it comes to this. Because what I want to do, and I hate this, and I just want to make this clear, that when it comes to getting into the woo part of this, where we talk about Bigfoot and the cryptids and things of that nature, a lot of people look at that as nonsense and things that aren't happening. But being, once you're exposed to the phenomena and you kind of figure out that, wow, that doesn't make sense, so it kind of opens up everything else, then I think if we could find a way to make this subject, the woo part of it, not so woo and more analytical as we think through it, then I think that benefits ufology as a whole. So I appreciate you guys being able to lean on you guys for stuff like that. So with these cryptids, right? So and I know we've talked about the little people, Travis. We've talked about the puckwudgies, which I think is a funny word, but I hear they're not so funny. Let's kind of get into some of the other ones, right? So what would be one that a lot of people are seeing most commonly in your area? If you had to pick one of the cryptids out of the many, what is the main one that people see in your area?
A lot of shape shifting, and like I should say, like also too, like if you're saying like on a higher, like a higher dimensional realm, like I'm saying like a more friendlier terms, there's a lot like that always are like a lot of spirits and a lot of different beings that are always being I should say showing themselves, or like are attending some of the ceremonies. Like they'll come through in spirit sometimes. And but what I'm getting at is but on the negative scale, like on the darker side, the lower side of the dark scale, we get a lot of the, I should say, a lot of the goat people, like goat man, goat woman. Those have been spotted out here. A lot of I should say, the darker scale of things. A lot of these, they're almost like little people and stuff, but they're more like what people would refer to like they look like trolls, but they're just like little folks, and they have little long noses and pointy ears, and they're just kind of like little bush people kind of deal. And they're like a little bit like hobbits kind of deal, like when you think of like on the scale of height, because little people are real small, right? Like real, like incredibly small. But these ones are actually like a knee height kind of little people, and they run around, and they're spotted every now and then. And some consider them, they could be the tree peekers as well, tree peepers. And those ones are ones you see out in the woods and you're walking, and then they're almost like they could become like they're like trees themselves, right? Like they're like plant people. But some people say that's those little guys dressed up as plants or trees and stuff. But I do think that they are considered like that. They are their own species of beings out there, and that they do roam the woods with these other ones out there, and that they are just able to take forms of stumps, and we'd walk right past them, and and our trees laying on the ground and stuff, and they just blend right in. We would never know. And
now I want to throw that same question to Brown Dwarf to get an idea, because Travis is way up in on the east coast of Canada. So Brown Dwarf for you, I know within LA, if people don't know, it's the concrete jungle is nothing but concrete everywhere surrounding you for miles and miles and miles. So did you ever I've never had anyone answer this question. Is there ever been reports of these cryptids like in the city, or do you have to go out somewhere to encounter these things?
So yeah, believe it or not, right outside of Los Angeles, you have the Angeles National Forest and the San Gabriel Mountains, and it's a pretty big mountain range. And there have been reports all along those mountain ranges and going further south into more into Southern California, and so yeah, you get reports out here for sure. And but most of my stuff has been based up north, and I just want to say I'm blown away by Travis being able to share from his people's and you know it's you're hearing it from the source, his source. So it's
Mhm.
amazing to have him on all the time and sharing his knowledge and stuff. So yeah, I just yeah, out here you do get the reports out here, but not as much as up north. So it's a bit different. And I have gone you know, certain places out here in Southern California. I have found possible evidence and stuff like that. And so I do think it's still active out here, but I haven't heard any fresh reports that I could think of. But up north, yes.
So Travis mentions like these, it would almost sound like little dwarfs or leprechauns, almost some with a
Mhm.
pointy nose and pointy ears. Anything like that? Have you heard about anything like that in this part of the country, or is I
Well,
want to know if that's native to his area?
yeah, well, out here, because you know, I'm myself being Latino. Um, in the Latino culture, you hear it a lot. You know, we call them duendes, and so it's a thing for sure. As far as reports here in California, I know of one. I had my sister way back in the day. One of her ex-boyfriends was this Bolivian guy, and he supposedly seen a duende run across the road when he was leaving our place in Hollywood and headed home at night to his place. And this thing supposedly, I think, jumped off a tree and ran across the street. And that was in Hollywood. But most of the duendes stuff that I've heard is usually stuff that was happening in Latin America, and you just hear the stories here from the people.
Hmm. Have you, Travis? I know you've been. I don't know if you saw the images that Brown Dwarf had presented tonight of the craft. It reminds me of the quality of the ones that you've captured. Have you had success capturing anything lately? What is the UFO activity out like out there currently? I think he might be frozen.
Hmm. And you
Yeah.
know, speaking of the trees, it's interesting that he mentioned that these little beings were able to do what they do with the trees, because you hear similar stuff also with Bigfoot being able to uh I guess pose as stumps, or do they become stumps? You know, some people call it stump squatch or things like that. And what else? You've heard of them being able to go inside of trees as well. Things like that. So trees, I think, are definitely on my radar, and I think that's just what's special about Humboldt County is that you got those redwoods up there. So I think
Hmm.
that plays a big role in the mystique up there. Um, but yeah, I think it's trees. It's weird because you hear similar things also with the boulders. Up in Iceland, you hear about the little people living in boulders and stuff like that, and I've talked about that before. Um, so it's something about these elementals uh, being able to do strange stuff with some of these things that we have here on this earth, man. Whether it be trees, rocks. Um, yeah, I'm sure there's other stuff out there that people know of that these things are able to tap into. It's really bizarre.
Yeah,
There he
definitely.
is.
Yeah, where you got your back, Travis. So yeah, and you talk about the redwoods. Redwoods being the oldest trees, I think, right? It can be found there in the world, right? I mean,
Yeah, something
thousands
like,
of years
yeah.
old, crazy
Yep.
stuff like that.
Some of the
So
biggest and oldest, yes. So
you
it's
would think there would be some weird stuff out there. You mean
right.
why not? Why not?
And there is, man. There is definitely. But yeah, welcome back, Travis.
Yeah, yeah. And I had a question for you, Travis, as you were freezing. I can't even recall what it was. But now that we got you back, give us let's go into a little story time. Let's just give me real quick like one of your most awesome compelling experiences that you've had when it comes to cryptids or just being out there searching for things.
Uh, yeah, there's been quite a lot of strangeness in terms of the ceremonies and well, just in my culture in general. But like the one of the ones that I knew where it was like for sure was when my uncle was doing showing me how to do the doctorings of the houses and stuff, and how to like clear spirits out of the homes. And it was like when we were very young, and it was like a family home that we were doing this at. And he was doing his prayers inside, and we're all standing outside like as a family. All of us were watching him in there, and he was alone in there. And all of a sudden we just heard banging, tuk, 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 tuk. When he was backing out, all of a sudden the windows just all just smashed on the house, all of them at the same time. And he was like, okay, here, you got to hold this. So I was holding that smudge. And um and then he's like, I'll be right back out, and you guys don't nobody come in there, and just wait till I come back out. And then sure enough, he brought out this big, it was like a big it was a buffalo hide that he was able to use, and he was blessed by the spirit realm, and he was able to go inside and capture well, it was a man buffalo eater spirit, and that's what was running around the roof of the house and in between like the doorways and the hallways and stuff. And but he ended up capturing it and bringing it back out, and then he smudged it, and then he put it back in the back of his car, in the trunk, and it just like the whole car just went down. And then he shut the door, and well, shut the trunk, and he was like, all right, well, I gotta go and take care of this, and you guys keep the smudge going, and I'll be back. And we can't go in there, and have to keep doing prayers in there for like the next 4 days. And so we all like, yeah, had to just kind of wait until he came back. And then he continued, and we were able to leave then. But yeah, it was a big moment. So I knew it was like a real like phenomenon that was going on. And my uncle always throughout my life was always telling me like about these things and this level of understanding of the world. And he was a very knowledgeable man. And that's like I said, where I learned a lot of my understandings of this world from. And from my other uncles too that were in the family, because we all practiced this spirituality, right? And they were able to guide me throughout my days and my understandings, and until until this present day when I'm still here.
Yeah. And I'd love to sit down, and because I love and I've told you this 1,000 times, but I love the fact that you have that access to where you can sit down with elders and just kind of pick the brain to get those stories that are hundreds of years, thousands of years old. And I really think tie directly to the phenomena, and kind of probably provides the answers to a lot of the stuff that we are wondering about this planet and then just life in general, right? Both of you have lived in well, currently I know you live in the wooded area, Travis, where you're at now. And then Brown Dwarf, you've been up north in Humboldt and with the redwoods out there. So I would ask if you find that locals in those areas, just regular people or even law enforcement, if do they look at this cryptid thing as a real thing? Like how if you've ever talked to locals and then police, do they say that they hear things, and what is your experience with that? Either one of you can go on that.
Yeah, for me, half and half. A lot of people, the locals know. A lot of the locals know. And some of them are either experiencers, believers, and the others just are not into it. But it's way more common because it's just it's a thing. It's almost like the county mascot, you know. So people know, and yeah, if you dig around, you start hearing the stories, and I've never gotten any firsthand stories from law enforcement, but definitely from locals and people.
How about you, Travis? In your area, locals, just regular people outside of the tribe, just regular people walking around, and then just police officers, for instance, because they're out at all hours of the night, round the clock, and I would wonder do they believe in this, or what is their stance if you have even ever talked to any of them about this? Looks like he's still muted.
Anyway, while he fixes that, I wanted to go back to the ceremonies. Him mentioning about the ceremonies and things making appearances. There's several times that I've heard with Native American ceremonies that a Bigfoot has made appearances during either like a drumming or some sort of ceremony, and I've heard it from. I think one was out in Oklahoma, and then there's
Folks that were like experiencers themselves, right? And they come forward and they talk to me about things and tell me like their experiences and how they've seen, orbs or lights and different kind of encounters on ships and stuff. And because like they see a lot of the paintings and it just reminds them of like what they've been through. And this one guy was like, he came up to me and he was like, so have you, so I see they've taken you up on the ship.
So the ship took him up.
It had to be abducted. Travis abducted live.
Beam Travis back down.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then there's been some local ones out of Humboldt. And you could also find I think these stories, if I'm not mistaken, and David Politis is one of his books. He's got several books from the area. Um, and I believe it's in Tribal Bigfoot. And I believe in there it talks about how the Hoopas, when they would have their ceremonies, that a lot of times the Bigfoots would be watching from the ridge tops. And yeah, I find that fascinating. You kind of get that vibe sometimes when you're out there. You feel like something's watching from the ridges. And yeah, no, there's been several stories out of Hoopa. And those books are some good books to get into if you want to learn more about that particular area there. He went in pretty deep on that before he started doing all that 411 investigating.
Yeah, and I want to show, because I did talk to get my guy back in here. I did
Bam.
talk to police. I talked to the police that were in Virginia City. Let me see. Let me bring it up here. These guys right here. So I talked to these guys, and I had a video, and I forgot to get it queued for this show, but I asked them, because this being supposedly a ghost town and all these strange things that happen here, I asked the cops in the interview as they were coming out from eating, they were coming back to this car, and I asked them, had you experienced? Well, first of all, I asked them, were you open to the whole idea that aliens are visiting the planet, and kind of what were your thoughts on that? One of the cops was kind of really standoffish, and then the other one was kind of more open, so you could tell who was who. And this guy maybe was a skeptic, and then this other cop was totally like in. So he gave me an answer, and he was like, yeah, they do believe that there has to be something to it. And then I asked if driving around these streets at night and patrolling, being that you're out at like 2, 3, 4 in the morning, if you experience any of the things that they talk about with these spirits and these entities that inhabit this town. And one of the cops, the standoffish cop, he really didn't give a good answer. He didn't give an answer really at all. And then the other cop, though, he was more so like, yeah, you know, he was like, you drive around and you know, sometimes you know, you feel like maybe you see something or you hear something. So that was pretty big coming from guys that are on the streets 24/7 and really, you know, the most likely candidates to see or experience something being that they're out there all the time. So that's the reason why I asked that question, because I'm thinking maybe if you were and I interviewed UAPPD a few weeks ago, the couple who former police officers who were actually interviewing other officers to kind of uncover experiences that they have, because they are also out 24/7 and at weird times of the night. And they have come to find out that it seems like that police actually are a good resource to finding out, you know, what weird stuff is going on, because they are out there all the time.
Mm-hmm. I bet. And I thought you were gonna say, they said, "Sir, put your hands behind your back."
Look. Let me tell you this story. This is funny. So after I talked to these cops in that moment, I was like, because everybody else was walking around, I said, I'm going to interview the cops. Why not? We're here on business, and I really want to know what their answer is, and maybe I can play that tomorrow night. But yeah, I mean, that was exactly, you know, it was awesome to be able to get that perspective. But later that night, we were going to do the Sky Watch, which I showed pictures of earlier. And I flagged the police down because literally it's one street. And I swear this is what happened. So they're driving up and down the street, just patrolling. And we are about to leave the ghost hunt place and go to the turnoff to do the Skywatch. So me being from where I'm from, right? I want the police to be aware and know what's going on here, because you know, from where I'm from, when police roll up on something unexpected, then there's usually sort of trouble sometimes in that scenario. So I said, hey, we're going to be right down at the end of this road. There's a couple of turnoffs. I just want you guys to know that. Is it public? Is it okay that we're there? I was like, I just want to give you guys a heads up, because I don't want any calls coming in. You might get a call saying, hey, there's these weird bunch of people over here gathered up and next one. I didn't want them to roll up on that. So that's funny that you said that, Brown Dirt, because I did. I flagged it. And then I go and I tell Mothman's like, why did you wave him down? I'm like, dude, where I'm from, you kind of got it. You kind of want to give the police a heads up and not just let them happen upon you doing something that they consider to be strange. So that's funny that you said that.
I feel you on that, man.
That's funny. But yeah, so Travis, for instance, Travis has come up with a lot of great sightings, and I'm always anticipating the things that he brings to the table, and then his knowledge, right? You said it earlier, Brown Dwarf, just being able to be connected to the tribes and having that to lean on. I'm sure, and shout out to Cryptid Huntress. I'm sorry, I missed her. She just came through the door. Jessica Jones, shout out to Jessica Jones. Really a great person too. Jessica Jones is the best, dude. Let me tell you this. Let me just sidebar and tell a quick story. Jessica Jones is so much of a cool person that you wouldn't even believe it. She's just like a super duper awesome person. I hope you're still out there, Jessica Jones, so you can hear this.
I believe it.
She is, I'm talking about when the camera, because she's the Cryptid Huntress in the front of the camera and she handles her business. And then when she turns that camera off, she is Jessica Jones. And Jessica Jones is a super awesome person to hang out with. So,
I believe it.
yeah, I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, and I wanted to say, man, I totally missed out. And this is the third year. I think I've been, listening to S.O.R for maybe 3-4 years now or something like that. And I've missed out several parties, and I've been so close. The last time Vegas, I was just right here and still couldn't make it. And hopefully this next one, I'll be able to make it a thing to show up.
Definitely, because we need that knowledge there. And then Travis as well, because Travis is gets into CE5 and stuff like that. My hope was for this that we had enough people. I wanted to get a group of CE5 people there for the Skywatch to try to pull them in. I don't think the energy was right. You know what I mean? Because we had, I think, one person, two people who were able to call them in, but I don't think the energy was like cohesive in that moment because we only had a short period of time to try to call these things in. But I wanted to try to facilitate something, so maybe we can do that next year at the next event, which should be, if it's in Apache Junction in Arizona, that's actually going to be a good place to try to do this. So I can't wait for it next year. And yeah, Brown Dwarf, I hope you're there. Travis, I hope that you're there. We got to get you there, Travis. What do you just let me know we need to do? We got to get you there. You got to get your passport. We got to get you down here to go ahead and do this next fan party.
Yeah, I thought he was showing up this time. But also what's up with Hoodoo and January there, Rob G? I'm serious about that one. I'm open to that.
Hoodoo, fill me in on that.
Remember, so Hoodoo was on last night, which
Yeah.
was a great interview, great show, and very interesting dude. And I really like what he's doing. And so he mentioned at the end of January he's going to be doing a little get together out there in Arizona, I guess, and it's kind of a open thing. So
Okay.
we got to tap in with him
Yes,
and see what's up. But I'd be interested in that if you're serious too. So
Yeah.
no
So,
pressure,
You're-
but
we're in the area, and here's what I want to do too. Here's what I think. Just kind of, I'll give my thoughts on Apache Junction, and then that as well. I think what we should do is, the fan parties will be the fan parties wherever we have them, but I think we should also during the year do like little meetups and things like that, right? Because I know in LA we got a bunch of viewers there, and we could always connect and make that happen. Kind of do a Skywatch meetup or something along those lines, Spaced Out Radio. But I think the ticket is in it's not anyone's fault that we have viewers all across the globe, which is awesome. But that when it comes to, hey, let's all meet up at this spot, it's not really in the cards for a lot of people to be able to do that just based on distance and just life. And I think more the angle should be, and Dave's doing this actually with going to Apache Junction. This happens to be like a radio market that Spaced Out Radio is big in. So I think the benefit there is that you have a lot of locals that listen to that station and listen to the radio show. So I think that would bring at least all the locals, or a good majority of locals, to the event, plus anyone that we can bring in, from the YouTube world across the globe. I think that's really how that should be the backbone of these meetups and these fan parties. So I think Dave has the right idea on that, and I think the next one is gonna be freaking amazing. So to everybody out there, I'm also talking to Dave about how to, if there's a way that maybe we could like tie the Patreon into, if you're a Patreon member for 5-6 months, maybe that gets you a free ticket to the event, and then all you have to do is worry about your travel at that point. So we're kind of trying to work out a few different angles to make it easier for everybody to get there. But I swear this is going down the right path, and the synergy and the energy that I felt when we were there, being there with the other host, Dave Scott, who's an obvious amazing host, and Jessica Jones, also amazing host, and then the people in the background of S.O.R to make this thing work. I really felt like we had a strong team, it almost like an all-star team, almost like the dream team, almost like, right? You know how you hit the basketball court and your squad is deep, and you just go there and you just run it. And I think I feel like that's kind of what we have here. So I think once we implement the fans into it, because the fans are just as awesome, and I think it's a reflection of each other, right? So Spaced Out Radio, I think, is going places, and I just enjoyed meeting viewers and being able to sit down and talk to viewers and understand that they appreciate what it is that we do, right, on a daily basis. Because this is a 3-hour show, right? Dave runs a 3-hour show 5 days a week. It is not the easiest thing in the world to do this, right? And to do it live, and just to have the appreciation that's shown Mama Catherine, Charlie, Von Patrick, Mothman, Mario, and a lot of other people that were there that just really showed their appreciation for Spaced Out Radio. I feel it in my soul. And that's why I couldn't wait to come back and do this show. Because I really wanted to tell everybody that and kind of just make everybody understand how it is that we felt about that. And I just hate that people missed it. And I just wish that we can try to get everybody there next year. So Brown Dwarf as well, for sure.
Yeah, it looked like a lot of fun, and you guys be prepared because it happened so fast. I remember when the Vegas thing just happened. I'm like, all right, well, I'll prepare for this next one. Before I knew it, it was already happening, and so
exactly.
be ready.
So that's the point, and that's why I think we're going to get the info out for the next one as quickly as possible. So it just gives you the full 12 months to try to, figure this out. And obviously, next year it won't be during the Mother's Day weekend, but it's I think we're moving in the right direction as a channel, and I think we really are getting, becoming we're getting more on the radar. We're being, spoken about on other shows, which is awesome, right? Any publicity is good publicity if you look at it. Our viewership is going up, which is awesome. We're getting a lot more great viewers in the community. And once they come in this chat, and I've always said this about the chat is awesome. And everybody who comes in and experiences everyone in the chat, they always say the same thing. They always are like, man, this is awesome. And I love this channel. This is great. I can't believe I haven't found this channel. And they always come back, me included as a viewer, because I consider myself a viewer as well. So I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I know you guys are both viewers, and then also now, as guests have been on both sides of it. So Mothman all day, dude, all day. Mothman's awesome, man. I owe that guy. He bought me a couple drinks out there, man. Just threw drinks in front of me. You know what I mean? So that's my kind of guy, man. That Mothman is literally the dude that you will sit down and have a brew with and have a great time. This guy is got a good heart, and he's a real cool person. And it's through the chat, you can kind of get that, but when you meet a person in person, then it kind of really hits home. That's why I can't wait to meet both of you guys. Travis, you're awesome, dude. I've always said you had awesome energy, and it kind of just spills through the screen. Everybody agrees on that. So I know you're going to be awesome to meet in person. So I can't wait for that. And then Brown Dwarf, you're right here. So we just have to make that happen. And Crypto Huntress, you're the best. Stop it. You're the best. You're the best. The way I look at it, still sharp and still. And I think I admire what Crypto Huntress does. She runs her show and she does it well, and people love it. Same thing with Dave Scott. That's why I really feel, I look around the landscape of ufology and try to see what channels are really moving the needle, who are just people talking, and then who are people that are really moving the needle. And I think Spaced Out Radio is going to a place that these other channels just can't go. You know what I mean? And I don't want to toot my own horn because I don't really feel like it's just me. I feel like I do my part, but we got Dave Scott, Jessica Jones, and then everybody who supports it in the background, including the freaking chat, the most awesome chat out there. I've been to other channels, and the chats are nowhere near the feeling you get when you're here with us. So I have to say that.
And
I know you've experienced that too.
I was telling Jessica, hit me up for a show.
Definitely. So
where's Travis?
Yeah, where you at, Moose Dudes? Where you at, buddy? We got a couple minutes here before I got to wrap up the show.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, no, I'm glad you're here, Brown Dwarf. My internet isn't that great tonight. Like I said, the storms have been on and off the past couple of days, so it's been a rough one for the internet. As of lately, though, I finished off my the Mars Bug Wars series. So the third book is out there now. It's the Mars Bug Wars Ultimate War Machines. I threw in a character for Rob in there and Filth and Dave, so you guys can check that out.
That one's out. That one's already out, or is it about?
Yeah, it's out. It's available now on Amazon.
Dude, show that book, man. Do you have it?
Not yet. I ordered the physical copies.
Okay.
They're on the way. But like I said, if you just type it in on Amazon, Mars Bug Wars, you'll find it.
Dude, that's so what am I doing in the book, man? Maybe I shouldn't spoil it, man. I'm just glad. Hold on, let me bring that up. Hold those up.
What am I doing?
Hold those up. That's what I'm talking about. You guys support Travis's work. Man. Travis is an awesome dude, man, and you know he's bringing this subject to life through these books. And I got a character in that, man. I'm juiced on that, man. I'm juiced. Okay.
Yeah, and this one has a lot of predictions in it. So, like the third one, I should say, the third one has a lot of predictions. Like the whole story is a great adventure. But like I said, it's very insightful, and yeah, dude, you got some great parts in there. So, hope you check it out, brother.
Oh, dude, I'm definitely going to do that. And like I said, we're going to promote the heck out of that. I do want to stop for a moment because Magneticus says it's only like 62 likes or something like that. Can we just take a pause for a moment and just get anyone who has the ability to hit that like button, if you wouldn't mind, just hitting that thing and getting this? Let's hit 100. Can we get 100 or close to that tonight so we can bump the algorithm and kind of move the needle and get this thing out there as much as possible? A lot of awesome content to come here. I want to go ahead and thank both of you guys for coming in tonight. And I'm going to go ahead and get ready to wrap up the show. Brown Dwarf, we're going to do this very soon. We're going to talk Scientology. We got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about.
Man, so much, bro. And I'm right here, Rob G. Anytime, brother, tap in with me.
You know it.
Brother Travis, an honor once again, man. And I would love to jump on with you sometime to chop it up a little more.
And
sounds good. Sounds really good.
Okay, so thank both of you guys for coming in. Also, Brown Dwarf, shout out your shop, man. Tell everybody where your shop is.
So you could probably just Google us. We're still gonna, working on a lot of things. Eventually, we'll have a website and all that. Little by little, we're getting things together. But sky's the limit. Smoke shop, and we have more than just 420 things there. We got skateboards, clothing, and a bunch of other cool stuff for all ages. So tap in with us.
Tap in. Whenever you're in the Los Angeles area, make sure you go and stop by there. I will be doing the same. Travis with the super duper awesome artwork. This dude is creative to no end. I love being around creatives because that gets my creative juices flowing. Appreciate you both. We'll talk again soon, guys. I'll see you next week, Travis. Brown Dwarf, we will be talking very soon. Let's get it in. Brother. You guys have a great rest of your night. Take care, man.
Yeah, take care, everyone. See you later.
All right. Yo, awesome show, guys. Awesome show. Being back, right? You got to knock the cobwebs loose. When you come back, we've been off for a couple weeks. We hosted the Reno show. Like I said, once again, I just really feel good about how it went. I really do. I really feel good about how it went. And we have come back full steam and ready to kick some butt and raise the bar and get the word out about this channel and get these numbers up and make Spaced Out Radio the place that you come to get into everything related to the phenomenon, right? So many great guests that come on here, Brown Dwarf included tonight. And man, we're going to do so much work, me and Brown Dwarf. Like I said, we're so close and we align on a lot of things. So it's going to be definitely some work that we got to get going on. Thank you, Christine Lynn, for showing your support for Spaced Out Radio tonight. And I think I missed one, Deb. I wouldn't overlook your support, Deb from Sacramento, showing love. And I do appreciate you both doing that. Because like I said, live shows, we love doing them for you. I love moving the needle, right? Just like the little bumper says, having the conversations that move the needle. Those are the only ones to have. If they don't move the needle, then these are conversations that aren't worth having, right? So let's keep moving this thing forward. Hopefully we get that disclosure this year, the confirmation for the masses. And hopefully we get, hopefully these ETs just come out tomorrow or next month or next whenever and say, hey, we're here. Things are going to change. That's what I want to see going forward. So with that being said, Definitely want to thank everybody for coming on in tonight. You guys have been so awesome showing your support. We're going to go ahead and get ready to bring this show to a close. Want to talk to all the space travelers out there. Consider taking the next step and join the club. That's right. You can join our S.O.R. Space Travelers Club for as little as $5 buckaroonies a month by joining our Patreon. We do appreciate your support. To all our viewers and listeners across the globe, thank you for tuning your dial to Spaced Out Radio, where, guys, what do? We own the night. Thank you for coming on in.
Conversations that move the needle.
Conversations that move the needle.
You're listening to After Hours with Mr. Rob G on the only place where you can own the night. Spaced Out Radio.
Spaced Out Radio. You've tuned your dial to the right frequency.
Hey everyone, guess what? We do not have ugly swag. We have Spaced Out Radio gear that you're going to want to wear. Why? Because no one wants to wear ugly clothing. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com and go shopping today. You'll be glad you did. And it's a great way to support our show. Once you get your gear, send us a picture of you rocking out in your S.O.R. swag. spacedoutradio.com, shop there today, and make yourself look good.
We say